to say that. When you go to Kemet school, you became more alert. You wake up, your spirit wake up. And you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. Classical studies, we must know Medew Netcher, you see. Maybe in the future we need to know some Hieroglyphic too. We need to know Medew Netcher. Achievement in Kemet for me is education. The way they think, they build, and they practice their education is very unique in history. Without education, I believe there will be no Kemet.
All right. ETM Motep. Welcome to the Sesh channel. This is your brother Wujau Min Ib Irimaat. So again, welcome and peace to everyone who may be tuned in early. So it's been a minute. It's definitely been a minute since I've gone live. We've gone live on the channel. So it's been about a week and over a week, 2 weeks, maybe more than that. You know, all these days have been a blur. But peace to everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying their Sunday morning, Saturday morning, and early afternoon. You know, whatever your routine is, hopefully you enjoy yourself. Here where I am, it's nice and sunny. Just got out of a kind of a cloudy, rainy situation, so it's clearing up and all of that good stuff. So we need the rain, we need the water, the rain, and all of that. But it's good when that happens and the sun comes back out. So just going live here to basically kind of catch up with everyone, and also for those who may not know, we have started a book club some time ago now, and we have concluded and finished our first book in the book club. And so, you know, I want to spend a little bit of time of just going over the conclusion of that particular book. So that's what I'm going to do, and also get kind of caught up from you all in the chat. You all can catch me up on any questions, concerns, or different things that have been said of interest, you know, on social media and things like that. So I'll be paying attention to the chat and all that good stuff. And I'll actually post a link if you want to come on the panel and let your voice be heard and share anything. I'll post a link in a minute. But yeah, so I just want to kind of go through a summary conclusion of the first book that we've used in terms of the book club. All right, so this particular book here, let me see if I can switch my screen over so you all will know. This is the particular book. It's entitled Ethnic Identities in the Land of the Pharaohs by Medew. And so this was our first selection and our first publication that we've gone through. So we've finished the book now. And the book is not that long. You know, it's a very good read. It's concise. It's short and concise. And it's not hard to follow anything. It's well attributed, well cited, you know, where you could branch off and dig into more information on what's being brought up within the book. But so we've finished it now, and I want to share the conclusions, the author's conclusions, concluding remarks, which is the last section of the book. And so I'm going to share that, and then kind of open it up if anyone wants to come on the panel, or I don't gauge the chat. But shout out to Donnie Williams. See Donnie Williams in the building. Nephilim Hotep, he says. ETM Hotep, to Zane Montego, and Teddy Wasser Ma'at Ras Neferu. Peace. All right, that's all of who I can see in the chat right now. So if you're in the chat, if you're tuned in, type something, give a shout out so I can shout you out. Let me know that you're here listening in, tuning in, hanging out with me on a Saturday, early afternoon, so we can get through this and then everybody can enjoy the rest of their day. So anyways, let me just kind of repeat what I was saying. We have finished this book, The Ethnic Identities in the Land of the Pharaohs. And this was the first book. This is the book I recommended first because of the ongoing topic of the racial identity of the ancient Egyptians, whether they're black or white, whether they're sub-Saharan African, what DNA they have, who are they, are African Americans, Egyptians, all of those different topics and questions have been preoccupying the minds of a lot of people for many years. And so this book is directly related to those issues. And it actually does a very good job of putting everything in proper perspective. And, so I'm going to go through the conclusion and then, give you all my thoughts on all of that. And you all pretty much know my thoughts on it already, because I've been very, very verbal, outwardly verbal, vocal on all of these issues. I shoot it straight. I address the elephants in the room. No elephant is going to sit in the room and I not mention it. Okay. Elephants do not belong in living rooms. And so when one comes and sits down, I am definitely going to point that bad boy out. All right. I don't care how nice the elephant is, but elephants will definitely be pointed out. But anyway, so but I'm going to still give my thoughts on the whole entire topic, just repeat it. But I don't see anybody else in the chat. See Sonnet Emiket, Aku Kinshaya Kenyi is in the building. But who else? Type something. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're here. So while I'm here stalling a little bit, making sure, people who are going to tune in actually tune in, I do want to remind everyone to download the Seba University mobile app, whether you have an Apple iPhone or a Samsung on Android. It's available to you. And so this is a native mobile app for our website, sebauniversity.com. And for those who may not be familiar with sebauniversity.com, to put it very simply, it is a website that we want to build out an educational environment. That's to put it in its most simplest terms. You know, progressive educational environment where we can actually move forward and progress, make some progress with information on various topics. The site is called Seba University because of the meaning of the word Seba or Seba has everything to do with education, whether it's defined as pupil, student, teacher, or instructions. The word Seba is an ancient Egyptian word that has those semantic meanings. And so, and university is pretty much already understood. So it's an environment or space for instruction. You know, the instruction space, the teaching space, the student space, the teacher space, you know, et cetera, et cetera. That's the idea behind the name of the site. And first developed the site or first created the site in 2015. So here we are 7 years later now. And now we have a mobile app so we can have access to it on the go. All right. And so we're going to start building more and more things out and on the website. If you go to the website, it's free to join. It's free to download this app right here. It's free. It's free to join the site itself, the community aspect. So the site is a social community. It's behaves just like Facebook in terms of having social groups on the site, and has a timeline where you can comment and post and things like that. But also along with that, we have courses, and that's what I'm saying. We're going to build out and add quick courses, you know, bona fide courses that take some time, and then some quick lessons and things, and most of it is free. All right, so it's not like, you know, this is being done to break anybody's pockets whatsoever. All right, so to whatever extent that we can, we're going to make everything available free, you know, to the extent that we can and within reason. So things that do cost will be for, you know, materials, research, and things like that. And then, you know, also people appreciate a little bit more things that they have to pay for. So like the major courses are going to be monetized. Quick lessons and things like that will most likely be free. And those are available now. So there's some that are available. As you can see on the screen, there's one called Theory of Evolution 101. And that's a quick little lesson, of course. A video, you watch the video, and then, you know, you take a quiz. And what it does, it just, you know, gives you a basic overview of the theory of evolution, and even defines what a theory is in scientific terms. It straightens all of that stuff out. People under the misimpression that the word theory means, you know, guesswork or, you know, just a opinion and things of that nature. That's how we use it on the streets, but that's not how the word theory is used in the various different scientific disciplines. And so we have to have that understanding. And then there's more. All right, so I think I've stalled enough. Get back over here to the chat. So yeah, shout out to LA, Oklahoma, ETM Hotep, DW, Heru Nefer. What does the DW stand for? Shout out to DW. Sonet Safa, Sister Safa is in the building. Kenneth McRae is in the building. So I'm going to post a link. If anybody wants to come on the panel, you're more than welcome to come on the panel. So let me get this link to everyone. Let me just get this link to everyone here. Give me 1 second. Any and all are welcome on the panel. We don't discriminate. Well, actually, I take that back. Discrimination is in full force if you don't know how to act. All right. But those are just obvious things. I'm posting a link now. So that is the panel link that I just posted, and I pinned it to the top. So feel free to join if you want. You don't have to have your camera on if you don't need to or want to, but you definitely have to have your audio working and microphone. All right. So, all right, let me switch gears a bit and go into the conclusion. So, as I said, this is a particular book that we went through first. And I recommended this book because of the freshness of the topic in this recent iteration of these arguments about who are the ancient Egyptians. Are they black? Are they white? Are they Israelites? Are they Middle Easterners? Are they Sub-Saharan Africans? Are they Mediterranean? All of the above. People have been arguing about that for over 50 years, and so every now and then it's like the tides, of the ocean. Every now and then it swells, the arguments swell up, and then they reside, they retract, and then they expand and swell up, and then they retract. And this has been ongoing for over 50 years about the racial identity of the ancient Egyptians. Who are they? And things like that, as far as the identity of the ancient Egyptians. And I say 50 years because ever since 1974 at the UNESCO conference with Dr. Shekanta Diop and Dr. Theophilo Benga, it's been a very heightened topic in the quote unquote black communities as well. But prior to that, it's been a hot topic among Egyptologists and just scholarship in general, going back to the 1800s, early 1800s, at the onset of Egyptology itself. All right. So, yeah, that's how long it's been. And so this is why I recommended it. And if you had taken my recommendation, even if you couldn't participate in the book club itself, because we met every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And so we're going to continue to do that when we select our next selection. And so speaking of that, there were some recommendations given. So I'm still open for recommendations on our next publication. So if you have an idea, or if you have a recommended publication that we should use as our next book, then please do so. You could type it in the chat now if you're listening now, or you can, let's see, what's the best way to email? Let me get the best email if you all aren't sure right now and you want to email later. Give me 1 second to find the best email that I should give you all. And I want y'all to flood my email. My email is flooded all the time. I have so many. If I were to share my screen on my email, my Gmail account, you all would think that I am crazy. I can't even keep up with how many inbox messages I have, just from all over, from all different things. I get a lot of confused things in my email box. I really need to organize that. I need to spend a whole day just to go ahead and organize my various different emails and forwarding emails and things like that. So I just want to make sure you all get a good email that I know that this is actually going to. Okay, for now, let me see. Let me make sure. Give me 1 second. And pardon me for this delay. But feel free to click the link now. Don't leave me in here hanging by myself. Feel free to click the link. I am now, there's an email support at sebauniversity.com, but I think there's another one I prefer everyone to use. And we're going to get that. I'm going to get that for you right now. Okay, well, I guess that is it. All right, well, just use that, support at sebauniversity.com. So if you have an idea, I actually need to create an email called bookclub@sebauniversity.com, but that doesn't exist yet. So I will be creating that in the future. That way, anything specific to the book club will be through that correspondence. But for now, just use support at sebauniversity.com. All right. So if you want to correspond for now, you utilize that email. All right. So again, shout out to everybody. We have Majay El Boabab in the building. That's what I see here now, who is added to the chat. All right. So let's get into the conclusion. So again, the panel is open. So at any time, feel free to join the panel. But I'm going to share the author's conclusion. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to just read it. Let's see, how long is it? It's not very long, so I'm going to read the whole conclusion. But now, as I do this, do not take the conclusion. If you haven't read the book, don't be satisfied with me sharing this conclusion. Get the book and read the book if you haven't already. Okay? I can't emphasize that enough. And we have to, and I noticed that a lot of people do that. They will pull up papers or even studies, whether it's scientific studies, medical studies, and things like that. And what a lot of people do is they'll read the abstract at the top of the paper, the intro of the paper, the abstract. And then they'll jump all the way down to the conclusion. And then, brush their hands off, dust their hands off as if they're done. And you should not do that. The only reason why, that's applicable is if you want to get the gist of something in lieu of reading the entire thing. You don't ever do that as a final step or as a conclusion or to make a point. You only do that at the beginning, like in lieu of your studies and in lieu of your research and in lieu of you coming to conclusions and things that are like that. But for now, I'm going to share the author's concluding remarks just so that you all can get a better gist of the entire book, but don't take these conclusions as the entirety of the points that are made throughout the book. All right. So let me get my share on, and we will proceed as soon as I can get this pulled up. And hopefully you all will be able to see it big enough. And if not, you all can let me know. Now, hopefully that's big enough on the screen. And if not, I believe that's as big as I can get it. Let me make sure I don't want to. Yeah, hopefully you all can see this. All right, you all may have to make, this YouTube video, this YouTube itself, put it to full screen. All right, so as you can see here, and I'm not sure if you guys can see my cursor. Is my cursor visible on the screen? And it is not. Maybe there's a delay. I'm just trying to see. And it is. All right, good, great. So you see chapter 5, concluding remarks. So I'm going to read this in its entirety, and then we can open it up for some discussion. All right. So again, the title of the book is Ethnic Identities in the Land of the Pharaohs. So concluding remarks. The question of identity, whether racial in the 19th and early 20th century or ethnic in the later 20th and 21st century, continues to occupy Egyptologists. Contemporary Egyptology faces the same problems in studying ethnic identity in the past as other historical disciplines, no matter if they are based on text, images, material culture, or their various combinations. Even those who did not or do not deal with these questions classify, for example, the archaeological materials such as pottery into, for example, Egyptian and Nubian, and use it as evidence of actual foreign presence. It is rarely considered that although foreigners could have been there, the foreign material culture can be usable without them necessarily aspiring to foreign identity. Section 3 of the book. Now in this book is called sections where I've been calling it chapters. So just just to synchronize with me. In section 3 of chapter 3, demonstrated the difficulties which go together with such arguments. Okay, so hopefully you all got that. Ancient Egypt presents us with an excellent case for studying ethnogenesis as defined in section 3, a concept unfortunately rarely used by Egyptologists. Following Jones, ethnic identities are based on shifting, situational, subjective identifications of self and others rooted in daily practices and historical experiences and subject to transformations and discontinuity. Now I'm going to read that again. Following Jones, so Jones is someone that's cited earlier in the publications, as you can see here, 1997 work. Following Jones, ethnic identities are based on shifting, situational, subjective identifications of self and others, rooted in daily practices and historical experiences, and subject to transformations and discontinuity. All right, that's important to make note of. Numerous examples discussed in this element demonstrate this. Identity in ancient Egypt was not as fixed as primordialists would argue. And I repeat, identity in ancient Egypt was not as fixed as primordialists would argue. The old Egyptological idea of a single Egyptian culture with single common ethnic identity, language, and shared values cannot be accounted for in all contexts. I'm gonna repeat that. I'll probably do a lot of repeating on this conclusion. I want to drive these points home. Not only home, but drive them home. Drive them in your living room, into your bedroom, snuck right up under the pillow. All right. These points need to be always present when having these conversations. So again, the old Egyptological idea of a single Egyptian culture with single common ethnic identity, language, and shared values cannot be accounted for in all contexts. A person of foreign descent could become Egyptian no matter his or her background. Again, a person of foreign descent could become Egyptian no matter his or her background. And can y'all highlight this? Yeah, just so you all can see where I am if you're just joining in. This has led some authors to argue that foreignness loses its applicability in the setting in which people of foreign origin who live in Egypt adapted to the social and cultural systems of their host country. The long history of ancient Egypt and the various examples provided in this element teach us that essentialists' notion of ethnic identity simply does not hold ground. All right. What is meant to be Egyptian or a foreigner changed significantly and numerous times over the last 3 millennia. It was negotiated and defined in contrast not to diverse people of foreign origin who live in Egypt and spoke Egyptian, for example, but to people who live outside of Egypt, not speaking the Egyptian language, and even possibly sometimes threatening the land of Egypt. Okay, so hopefully that sinks in. This is why both the scientific racism discussed in section 2 and the third science revolution and its tools such as DNA and isotope analysis discussed in section 4 fail to give answers to ethnic identity, being that it is socially constructed. And I definitely have to read that again. This is why both the scientific racism discussed in section 2 and the third science revolution and its tools such as DNA. Now I'm sure you all have been on the YouTube streets and y'all hear people bring up DNA all the time. Haplogroup E1, B1A, E1, B1, 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 B1C, B1, 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 B1Z. You all hear all of that all the time. And all of that is not the answer to these types of questions. People are trying to use the wrong tools, although they're valuable tools in and of themselves, because biogenetics and the entire genetic discipline is very important, and it's a very good discipline to study and science. But it's not the tool to use in trying to answer certain questions. It's like a surgeon, an open heart surgeon, grabbing a screw gun to perform open heart surgery instead of the scalpel. The screw gun is valuable in and of itself, but it's not the tool for the job. And this is what happens. All right. So I just want to kind of inject that in there. But let me read this again. This is why both the scientific racism discussed in section 2, and by the way, section 2 discussed scientific racism, you know, the whole craniology, the whole the intelligence thing with the brain size, the cranial size, and things like that. That was in early 1800s or in the 1800s, early 1900s, that was being utilized. The whole scientific racism to make these determinations. Then you have the third science revolution, which is modern, with the whole DNA conversation ever since 2003, the mapping of the human genome. Both of those fail to give answers to ethnic identity, being that it's socially constructed. And this is what I've been trying to tell people for the longest time. We have social constructs, and then we have biological ones, and we should never confuse the two. Never confuse the two. All right? Ethnicity is a social construct, not a biological one. People just got to get that. Just get it. All right? Stop fighting it. To continue, we have to differentiate between biological proximity divergence and ethnic identity, as the former is a result of long history of interactions that occur between that person's ancestors and earlier natural and socio-cultural environments. Although groups with similar cranial shape tend to be related more closely to each other than groups that show more divergence, these similarities and differences are not ethnic differentia specifica. That's important. Feeling as a member of and identifying with an ethnic group is not something written in bone, blood, or DNA. Wujao, repeat that again. Feeling as a member of and identifying with an ethnic group is not something written in bone, blood, or DNA. Okay? So people need to stop doing that. It's just that simple. Next, these analyses are certainly more than useful in studying ethnicity because they provide us with valuable information on origin, descent, biological kinship, and mobility. But as text and iconography teach us, foreignness read through these analyses can mean little because it was not an obstacle to self-identification or outside recognition of membership to certain ethnic groups. It can't get any more clear than that. Studying cultures which left rich textual and visual records behind, such as ancient Egypt, provides a nice balance to the approaches relying solely on skeletal remains of ancient people, like in the case of prehistory. The stereotypical, rhetorical, and ideological representations of foreigners in text and iconography are a reference to the process of self-definition and do not target the inhabitants of Egypt of different descent, as long as they are loyal to the king. Cultural practices of foreign origin can be used to express status rather than ethnic identity and can, as such, slowly but surely inspire others to adopt them. See, all of these points have been made, throughout this particular book. Okay, so like I said, that's why I'm saying, don't take these conclusion remarks, and be done with it, and feel that you shouldn't read the book. Get the book, read the book, okay? Because this is just what it says. These are conclusion remarks. After some time, they become an integral part of one's own unconscious daily, which is habitus. Okay, that's a word that's used in terms of the identity ethnicity conversation. Habitus. They become an integral part of one's own unconscious daily or habitus or occasional practices, losing the allure of foreignness. This is why foreign material culture and practices documented in the archaeological record cannot be interpreted as a cultural historical manner as evidence of foreign presence using the pots equal people premise. This was discussed a lot in the book, Pots Equal People. And you may hear people on various different YouTube platforms and stuff talk about pottery and emphasize pottery equal people, not realizing that pots equal people is a premise of archaeology, and it's a faulty one, as this book demonstrates. Okay, earlier on in this book, it demonstrates that. Okay, this does not mean that people do not move and leave archaeological traces of their movement or presence. Some of these movements leave archaeological traces, others do not. Yet, recognizing a foreign burial in ancient Egypt does not mean studying ethnic identity. We should always remember that the dead are buried by the community of the living, so that those who might have tried to change their ways still got buried in the way the community they once belonged to wanted them to be buried. Now let me pause here for a second. I think a lot of people experience this or know about this even in our families, today, where you may be a part of a family or relative where one of your relatives may have, let's just say, for example, converted to Islam. Let's say you grew up, in a basic Christian household, and one of your relatives converted to Islam. And that relative that converted to Islam, if they should pass away or whatever the case is, they may get buried in a regular Christian, or what would be considered a regular Christian burial, and things like that. Because it's the community of the living that's responsible for burying the dead. And if those provisions are not set forth, and people don't honor and respect it of the deceased person, then they're going to bury them, whichever way they deem. And we see that happen a lot. Some families even argue. I've seen people go to court over things like this, and that's no joke. That's serious. Okay, so where am I? Okay, here I am. This was probably one of the reasons. Blocking my way. Here it is. This was probably one of the reasons textual sources indicate that ancient Egyptians preferred being buried at home. Now, in section 1, and we've discussed this on this channel many times, where and it's still practiced today in Africa, in the continent of Africa, among many communities. When a person passes away or dies, it's the default setting that the person should be or have the want and desire to be buried at home, where they're from. That's a general ideology, among many people. In Egypt, we can show different cases of that. To continue, one should, however, not be pessimistic and depart from any attempt at studying ethnic identity through material culture. In fact, material culture is crucial for expressing ethnic identity. None of the aforementioned people of foreign origin could express either their foreignness or their Egyptianness without material culture. For example, dress, funerary stelae, tombs, etc. However, what culture historical archaeology fails to recognize is that not all material culture is used by a group or recognized by another group as an ethnic marker. See, and that's very, very important and critical. What we use to group ourselves or differentiate ourselves from the others can be used by others to mark us, but they can also mark us with that which we do not recognize as a differentiating feature. Pottery and culinary practices can be adopted or abandoned. People can also try things out, sometimes out of curiosity, then continue to use them or abandon them completely. But that does not mean that foreigners were not around. They could have been, sometimes longer, sometimes occasionally. Egyptology benefits a lot from rich textual and iconographic sources. The danger is, however, in insufficient dialogue between Egyptologists specializing in philology and historiography and those specializing in archaeology and art science. So the danger is in the lack of communication between these specialists in these different areas. Okay, so to fix that, we have to become multidisciplinary in our approach to all of these things. We have to become and open the dialogue between the various different areas of study. That's the only way we're going to make progress. Even more dangerous, and I'm here, even more dangerous is the lack of awareness of discussions on ethnicity outside of Egyptology, namely in the broader archaeological world and other disciplines such as sociology and anthropology. Egyptologists rarely stress that, quote, what we must do is try to avoid applying inappropriate modern distinctions to ancient situations. Let me repeat that because this is something that I say all the time. This is called anachronisms, by the way. Anachronism. Look that word up if you're unfamiliar with it. Anachronism. Anachronism has the word chronos in there, meaning time. And basically what anachronism is to put something, remove something out of its proper time and place it in a different time zone. And to do that and then have an interpretation based on that improper time zone. Okay, that's what anachronism is. And we do not want to do that, although people do it all the time. And that's what this is. Egyptologists rarely stress that, quote, what we must do is try to avoid applying inappropriate modern distinctions to ancient situations. So that's something to be avoided. In section 1, we have seen that ancient Egyptian identity was never national, although in certain periods there is evidence of imperial identity of the elitist segment of Egyptian society. The need to rethink our preconceived notions of identity, the concepts we employ to interpret the past, and the way we understand material culture is gaining increased recognition. Now that's a good thing. Okay, that is gaining increased recognition. Schneider labeled these efforts trans-Egyptology of the 21st century. However, while preliminary moves have been made in the last 2 decades or so, at least where the topic covered by this element is concerned, still only a handful of scholars participate in these discussions. And that's problematic. Now, I'm going to pause here for a second because among the quote unquote black circles in having these discussions about Egypt, Egyptology, and all things Kemet and stuff like that, it's definitely lacking in these conversations because, like early Egyptologists that were pushing Egyptians to be white and so on and so forth, people in the quote unquote black community are doing the opposite, pushing the Egyptians are black and black this and black, to the point where people are saying that the inspiration for the name of the kingdom, the very word Kemet itself, was inspired because of the people's skin color. Okay, that's the extreme that is being going in the other direction. So it's problems all the way around. So the solution is to properly identify, properly define ethnicity, and to have this dialogue between multiple disciplines and things like that. All right. But to continue, um, most Egyptologists are instead what some archaeologists call culture happy, meaning that they still work within the frame of culture historical archaeology. Instead, starting from the notion of Egyptian identity being very locally bound, we should ask ourselves in which context this locally bound identity can be elevated to sentiments of belonging to a land or a people. It seems that this is in the case of supra-local and super-regional mobility or tensions. This element has made an attempt to fill, this element meaning the book, this element has made an attempt to fill gaps in communication between studies of ethnic identity both inside and outside Egyptology and those not dealing with these questions by providing an overview of both past and current approaches, problems, and challenges Egyptologists face in studying ethnicity. Readers still interested in this topic, this topic should further venture into the rich world of Egyptological studies of foreigners and ethnicity, and the even richer world of numerous and varied ancient Egyptian sources. The sources can be surely read and studied to learn more than has been said here. And if this is the outcome, my goal with this element is accomplished. All right. So that's the final statements of the author. Those concluding remarks in the last section, the last chapter of this particular book. All right. So I read all of that to share that to you all who may be watching live now. Let me shift over to the chat. If you're live watching now, I'm not sure who has read the book and who hasn't read the book, but I wanted to share that to cover the bases of both. All right. If you read the book, then you've obviously read the conclusions already. If you haven't read the book, then me sharing these conclusions, hopefully that will inspire you to read the book even more. All right. So that's pretty much that. And I see that no one clicked the link to come on in here and share their thoughts. So I'm going to continue to run my mouth and share my thoughts. Let me get this off of the screen here. We have Sonat Emiket in the building. Did you have any remarks, anything you wanted to say?
Hotep. Uh, yeah. So I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the book, and I just wanted to let people know that it's actually, it's a good read. It doesn't take so much of your time, but just going through the book, it definitely humbled me. That's just one definite thing. And also it made me just be able to sit back and look and even just analyze the conversations that I had people have around these particular topics, and just realize just how unprepared, how childish, how behind we are when it comes to these conversations. And one of the things, I mean, just like what you read through the summary, is like even when people talk about DNA and all that kind of stuff, people just don't understand that they're trying to solve, as a problem with one tool, that they're using the wrong tool to solve a problem. DNA answers a biological question, and they're talking about social type of identity thing, which is actually just the wrong thing to do. And even us just doing that, like trying to figure out, even when you talk about black, like black is not an ethnicity. Like there's no the black language and the black culture and the black customs. It's actually it is a phenomena. It's that is actually very prevalent in the diaspora. But black is not an identity. On the continent is not just a black culture. It's different type of ethnicities. The same way white is not an ethnicity. You're not going to talk about Vikings and then the Celts and all that kind of people, and then erase all that and then try to figure out the white culture in that particular sense. Everywhere you go, whether once you bring in the black and the white type of identity, then you are just in the wrong type of discussion. So even trying to prove if the ancient Egyptians were black or not is actually as silly as it gets, because how are you going to do that? What is black? That's not something that you're going to apply on any particular group of people anywhere. What is white? That is something that we do, but that is you can't use biology for that. You can't, you don't have that particular culture. What was their customs in history? It's not there. In that sense, you either going to have to figure out what ethnicity you're talking about, what group of people you're talking about at the end of the day. And this is the work that most people don't want to do. But the book did actually expose that, and it's not just us. It's actually, like you read on the last part, it's a discussion that even the experts themselves are not. Then there's not enough of those discussions. When they get into things, then they're trying to talk about things like the DNA, like even the pottery and things of that nature, that without even having a proper understanding of what ethnicity is, and that is something that we definitely see. But yeah, I was definitely humbled, and I can actually see how stupid these conversations I've been getting. I can see it now. Sometimes you're in the middle of it, you don't see until somebody pulls you back and then just gives you some prerequisites.
All right, well said, well said. Definitely. Um, I want to underline something that you said, Emicat, is that once you expand and actually explore the information surrounding the topic better, and you have like a fullty of these various different topics, you then start to see how ill-equipped people are when having these discussions. I know you mentioned childish, immature, and basically ill-equipped, and that's my sentiment, and has been my sentiment for a very long time with many topics, not just with ancient Egypt or Egyptian-related topics, but many topics. And so I summarize that kind of behavior as microwaving. I use the word microwave because it applies to trying to do something fast to get the same outcome that was once done slow, or should be done slow. So microwave food, the microwave generation, everything is fast. And fast doesn't mean good all the time. Because fast can imply rush. You're rushing things. You're not paying attention. You're not getting down to the finer details of things that are very important. Just like I was always told when I was young, in various different ways and lessons, though, that I remember, and I was always told that it takes 100 pennies to make a dollar. So although we look at 1 penny or 1 cent as being insignificant, that 1 cent is necessary to make a dollar. 100 of them. If you have 99 pennies, you don't have a dollar, no matter how you slice and dice it. So you need that 1 cent. And so, those kind of sayings, I think back and they hit. When you're young and and the adults around you, around us, they say all these different sayings to us. Boy, it goes in one ear and out the other. When you're young, but if done right, they stick with you. And then when you become of age and become an adult and have your own experiences, you can't help but to think back to the things that you were told when you were little. And that's just one example. That they say the devil's in the details and things. I guess that's to scare you away from the details. But anyway, the microwaving of these things is detrimental. It's not beneficial. It's not helpful. It's detrimental. But the modern technology enables that. It actually encourages that behavior, because we now have online encyclopedias. We have the ability to search very quickly. We have Wikipedia, which is probably the most popular online encyclopedia now. We have Google search, Yahoo, Google Scholar, and different websites and things like that, where even libraries, the procedures that we used to follow, where we had to go physically to a library, go to the card catalog, find the card catalog or the title of the books that we want and stuff like that, write down the book number, the I forgot what they call that, the catalog number of the book, and then walk and go to the shelf and try to find the book on the shelf. Get the book and check it out. But reference books, we couldn't even check reference books out. I don't know, I'm not sure if this was true for all libraries in different places, but I know that certain books you couldn't check out. You had to read at the library. You couldn't walk out with them, and things like that. And I know some libraries, depending on the members of the library, if the membership of the library had the tendency of not returning books on time or losing books, then the library would clamp down on even borrowing some of the other books, and things like that. So anyway, but all of those things, just things that we used to do, but now everything is faster. So we have email instead of sending letters. So everything is fast. So think about that. We have electronic mail now. We have text messaging, where everybody has access to every other person in real time. I could text somebody right now and they get my message instantly. They could text me back and reply instantly. We never had that before. And so all of these things add up to us being a fast-paced society, where we have the expectations of everything coming fast, coming, real quick. We have fast food restaurants. We have the microwave oven itself. Before, you spend 45 minutes to cook dinner. That's the average given time, 45 minutes to an hour. Everybody and their mother knows that. Dinner took about 45 minutes to an hour. Like, you knew when dinner dinner was started, all right, to come back in an hour. You'll go outside and play, be back in an hour. Be back in an hour for your dinner, right? It went from there to the TV dinners. I don't know if y'all remember the TV dinners, the Swanson TV dinners, where you put your whole dinner in the oven, everything in little compartments. You put the whole thing, TV dinners. You put the whole thing in the oven. And the most famous one was the Salisbury steak, Swanson's TV dinner, with the Salisbury steak and the macaroni and cheese or potatoes or something in there, whatever. You put the whole thing in the oven. 20 minutes later, boom, you got dinner. So it went from there to the microwave oven, and then microwave oven products, where now it's down to 2 to 5 minutes. You can have a whole meal. 2 to 5 minutes. Put it in for 3 minutes, stop it, take it out, stir it up a little bit more, put it in for another 3 minutes, you're done. So 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes, you have your whole meal. So anyway, I'm saying all of that to say, and I could say a lot more, but the point is that everything is sped up. Everything is sped up. And with that comes issues and problems, consequences. So when it comes to studying, People want to fast pace everything. People want to, they feel compelled to go live every day on YouTube and have something to say. And so they're sharing information that's ill researched. It's not researched information. It's on the fly or the night before Googled stuff or whatever, or people search for things just to argue. So if you say something and I don't like what you say, or I disagree with you say at the start, I'm gonna go search for something that agrees with me just so I can use it and weaponize it against what you say. See, all of that stuff is not real scholarship. It's not the way that we should be doing things, you know, and that's problematic. And so that's what's been going on with this topic about the racial or the identity of the ancient Egyptians. And I've been saying this since day one. And I actually went to Facebook today and saw a post that's, you know, still on the same tip. They're using the Ramses III tomb depictions of the so-called four nations of people, the Egyptians, or I should say the Remich, the Nehesiu, the Remich, the Amu, the Nehesiu, and the Chimehu, were the Egyptians, the Asiatics, the quote-unquote Nubians, and then you have the Libyans. And using that same picture, which is unique and the only one of its kind, they use that picture and then go and talk about the blackness of Egyptians, that they're black this, black that, not understanding that our entire concept of blackness and not blackness, or whiteness and not whiteness, is a modern concept, socially constructed. Thus, it is a modern social construct that should not be applied in antiquity or in history beyond when it was when it emerged. All right, so I see we have another person on the panel. So I want to say all I see is the name Cat. So peace and welcome to the panel. I don't know if you we see your ceiling. I don't know if you mean to be in the shot or whatever the case is. I'm not even sure if you can hear me. But peace to you. All right, so I'm gonna let you get yourself situated. Can you hear me? Cause I don't hear anything. You may have to do this. Leave and come back in. Just try that out. You know, when all else fails, just leave and come back in. That's the first thing people do. Oh, let me leave and come back in. That's like Control Alt Delete on the computer. That fixes everything. Control Alt Delete. Okay, Cat, you there? All right, I can't hear you. Can anybody else hear? I want to make sure it's not me, because it sounds like they're talking. Cause I could see the icon moving as if it's being talking. Somebody in the chat, let me know if you can hear them. Okay, everybody says no. So, Cat, we can't hear you. All right, so I guess they're gonna sort that out. So, anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so we have to do better. And you know, this book. So let me just cut to the chase then. Anyone continually bringing the topic up of the identity of ancient Egyptians, and they do so under the older paradigm or the continued that paradigm that in the way that it's been talked about, is really doing us a disservice. They're taking us backwards. They're not progressing. They're not trying to solve the problem. It ends up really just being a counter to what European scholars did in early Egyptology. It's the equal opposite. So we're not doing anything better. We're just doing what they did, but cloaked in blackness. That's really all it is. And that's not enough to advance the conversation and to find out the realities behind all of these different questions and the answers. It's not. And we just have to cut it out and stop it. We have to stop romanticizing things and stop feeling the need to do that and just be brutally honest, follow the evidence, and open ourselves up to all utilizing all the tools at our disposal to answer these questions. And on top of that, to admit when we don't know something. That's it. If we don't know, we don't know. And we should do our best to find out. If we can incorporate all that stuff, we would be doing a lot better. We would be doing a lot better. All right. So let's see if Cat is okay. So Cat, are you there? All right. See, Cat is making it real suspenseful. Everybody wants to know. Okay, what does Cat have to say? But Cat, we can't hear you. If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Nope. If you are actually signing in from a mobile phone, then you definitely have to allow your browser to use your audio connection or your microphone. If that's the case, then that explains why you're having issues.
Okay, you hear that? Hopefully you could try that out. So if you're using your mobile phone, um, say just repeat that, Emiket.
Yeah, if you're using your mobile phone, first log in from the browser itself and not from the YouTube channel, and then allow your browser, whatever it is, Chrome or Safari or whatever, allow it to use your microphone.
Oh, I muted myself just now. Sorry, but Kat, can you hear me? We can't hear you.
You're definitely talking because I can see your microphone going up, but it's not coming out. So make sure that if your microphone settings are actually the volume is up as well. That could be another thing. Just troubleshooting you. So if you look if on your screen, if you see the cogwheel, um, if you click on that, and then it should take you to your audio settings, and just make sure that everything is set up. Or from your own computer, make sure that your microphone volume is not down and it's all the way up.
Does that make hello?
Yes, we hear you.
There
Oh
we
my
go.
God, can you hear me
Finally.
now? Thank you.
Finally. There we go.
I'm so sorry. Thank you. I went into the default and it said iPhone microphone.
All right, there we go. Now we can hear you.
God damn. I was like, why can you not guys hear me? Thank you, darling.
All right. So the mic is yours. So what's so
No.
what's on your mind?
It's not mine. I just came up here actually to ask you, Sesh, and I've listened to you actually for a while now, and you kind of push the Kemet culture from what I've heard of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually going to come up and ask you, why do you do that?
Okay, well, that's a fair question, and I get asked that from time to time, every now and then. Well, for me, well, I have an personal interest in Kemet, because I deal with the language, and everything, and because Kemet, ancient Egypt, is such a mystery. And I got kind of tired of people romanticizing and commercializing Egypt just on, the pyramids, the great pyramids, the temples, and taking tours and things over there. So I decided a long time ago to study the culture of ancient Egypt, but by way of its language. And so based on my experiences, there are a lot of things about ancient Egyptian culture that is very, very interesting, valuable, and things that we can actually utilize and apply in modern times in terms of the culture. But it's not just the only culture, of course. But it's definitely
Okay. Can I ask you a couple of things before I
Sure.
forget?
Sure.
Like you
Sure.
said, you study the culture of ancient Kemet. What is that? What's the ancient culture or the ancient language that you?
Okay,
what's the ancient language? Yeah, that you refer to. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the language that they called themselves was called Rani Kemet. So the language itself is called Rani Kemet, and it's made of 3 words: Ra, Ni, and Kemet, which literally means the mouth of Kemet. And so that's a euphemism for language. So the language is called Rani Kemet, but today we call it Middle Egyptian or Ancient Egyptian. So that's the language. Rani Kemet is the language. So you have the language,
so
and then you have
you,
the
as
writing
someone
system.
that studied, okay, so you've learned this just off your own back, like just through literature and studying on your own, like Egyptians, Sudanese people, like.
It's a combination. Well, the language itself is considered a dead language, so it's not spoken today. But we have access through its literature, through its writing system. And so the writing system is called Sesh, Medew, Netcher, which most people call hieroglyphic. So that's the writing system, and then the language, the underlying language of it would be Rani Kemet. And so it's a dead language that's not spoken today. But the only closest thing to it would be the Coptic language that is still spoken today as a liturgical language in the Coptic Christian Church over there in the Arab Republic of Egypt today. So that would be the closest thing.
But you're saying a Coptic Christian language is teaching you about a predominantly Muslim, Egyptian, Sudanese culture?
No. Well, Coptic is not a Christian language. Coptic is an ancient Egyptian language. It's just that the people who deal with the Coptic language.
No, it's actually. Hang on. You said Coptic is an ancient Egyptian language.
Yeah.
From where? Where did that come into? play
You say
as
when?
the
When or
language?
where?
Yeah,
You,
when? Like, what kind of? Can you give me like a year maybe where you can find that language spoken in Egypt?
sure. It was around the turn of the century, turn of the in the millennium, A.D. So the early A.D. period
So in the
is
last 100 years?
not 100. No, no, no. We're in 2022 now,
No,
so
you
we're
said the
2000.
turn of the century, the last AD. What do you mean?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I said turn of the century, millennium. I said
Okay.
A.D. The in the
Mm.
early A.D. So you have the first century A.D. So before, let's back up a bit.
Okay, that's
In
okay. Mm-hmm.
in ancient Egypt, you have the language is divided into five different stages. So you have Old Egyptian, Middle Egyptian, Late Egyptian, Demotic, and then Coptic. Coptic is recognized as
Mm-hmm.
the fifth and final stage of the Egyptian language. So this
Why?
is what I mean by
But why? But why? But why though?
why is it referred to as the last stage?
As the last stage, yeah.
Well, because languages evolve over time, and
Okay. So,
ancient Egypt is a
mm-hmm.
culture that thrived for over 3,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the latter part of its existence, Coptic was identified as a language, and it was called Coptic.
Yeah.
So it's called Coptic by scholars.
Coptic as in brought it into excuse me, Egypt by the Berbers, like the Coptic Christians. Now,
Well, actually,
right?
no. Mm-mm.
Who was it brought by?
Okay, now I don't want to confuse the writing, the writing script from the language. So
Mm.
again, the Egyptian language shifted over time, just like
But what is
in
the
English.
Egyptian language? No, no, no. Because this is the
Okay.
thing. A lot of people, you guys want to say what the Egyptian language was. Do you know what that was?
Yeah, I told you earlier.
What
It's
was
called
it
Rani.
called?
It's called Ra Ni
No, it's
Kemet.
no, it wasn't. No, it was called Rodney. What?
No, not Rodney.
According to who? According to who?
Okay, according to the
No,
Egyptians themselves.
I'm saying to you. All right, yeah. What was
Okay,
it called?
according to the Egyptians themselves, they refer to their
No,
own.
according to what you read out of Europeans' books. What was it called?
No, 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 no. Now let me ask you a
No,
question. Let me ask you a question.
No ancient
Hold up. Let me ask you
Egyptian
a question.
ever called you. We called it Rodney, Egyptian. Nothing. Where
Okay,
did you hear that ever come out of ancient Egyptian's mouth? Okay, right, okay,
well, okay. So let's slow down a little bit because this is going
okay. All
this
right,
gonna be fun. This
we're
gonna
gonna
be fun.
take it step by step. All right, all
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
all right, all right.
Okay, so
Mhm.
you and I both know that there's no ancient Egyptian that's alive today, right?
Right.
Okay, so I don't want to hear you say that no ancient Egyptian told me anything because that's
I never told you anything. I'm just telling what you're telling me.
okay. No, but you said
You told me.
okay.
All
So
right.
so so let's do this. Let's go to an ancient Egyptian text that was written by ancient Egyptians
Okay.
that survived today
Mm.
and find out what did
Mm-hmm.
they call their own language. Would that be fair to do?
Okay.
Would
That would be
would
great. That'd be great. Thank you.
okay. So
But
now
hang on.
okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. Hang on. When we talk ancient, how far?
Up, you cut out. You cut out.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you go. Say it again.
Okay. I'm asking you, how far are you gonna go back? Because when you talk about ancient, it's a very generic. So how far are we going back here?
How far you want to go back?
25th, 50. What are we going? What are we doing?
You said 25. 25 what?
25th dynasty. Like, where are we going?
Oh.
How
No,
far?
no.
How far back are we going?
Well, we can go back to certain texts. You know, certain texts are written in certain time periods. So we can go
Well,
to
of
Middle
course we
Egyptian.
can go. We can always go to certain texts and what they say, but who was ruling at the time,
Okay,
and
so
what are they going
let's
to
go.
say?
Okay, so
So
let's
go
go
back,
to
to the time that
Okay, so what?
coincides with what you think. All right, go on.
Okay, so there's a text called the Tale of Sinuhe,
Mm-hmm.
where the ancient Egyptians referred to their language by the name I gave you. And this particular text
Okay.
was written during the Middle Kingdom when Egypt was
Mm-hmm.
thriving. When Egypt was thriving, it wasn't under
Mm-hmm.
any foreign rulers or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
would that be a sufficient source for you on identifying the name of the
Yeah, I would
language?
love you to talk. Yeah, tell me what language we were speaking, please.
Okay, it was well. I already told you what it was, Rodney Kemet. I'm saying,
No,
but
tell me now. No, no, no. Listen, I haven't even told you where I'm from, my background,
well,
or anything. I want you, in your assumption, to tell me what you think you know about my culture, what language we were speaking. That's what I'm
Oh,
asking you.
wait, just to make sure, you said what language
Yeah,
we.
yeah,
We are talking about ancient Egyptians, and then you still definitely have to
yeah.
define who we are, because we could be,
No, because
wait, so don't,
me and who we are is who
who is
I
we?
am. Who's
well,
me?
well,
Who is you?
No, when you say
Who
we
is
were
you?
speaking, who is the we?
Well, first explain who you are, and I'll tell you
Well,
who I am.
okay, so I am Imiket. I come from Kenya on the East African side, so I could tell you I'm not, definitely I need to know if the we includes the Kenyan people.
And that's
So
beautiful. I
that's the
love
only
Kenyan
reason,
people. I'm a
but
Sudanese
I'm only
woman.
saying just when you
I'm a
say we, just
Sudanese woman born in Khartoum from Omdurman, a Nubian
so are
woman.
you trying
So
to
when I
ask
ask
me?
these questions, I
Hmm.
want to clarify why other people think they can speak on my culture and tell us what language we spoke, what culture we adhere to. I want to hear that from, I guess, a Kenyan and an American. I would love you guys to tell me what we
okay,
did.
so
Yeah,
so
tell me about that.
all right,
Yeah.
so I want you. So let's straighten
Mm-hmm.
something out first. Let's go back to your question, um, because I don't think you answered my question. Can you read the hieroglyphs?
No.
Okay, so that's gonna be a problem for this conversation because if I point out to you what the
No,
Egyptians
darling, I'm
wrote,
not asking you about the hieroglyphs.
wow.
Because you think you know what the hieroglyph says, but you really don't.
But see, you
You
won't know that. But
assume you know.
wait,
No,
wait,
but
wait, wait,
you
1 second.
assume. No, but you
Hold on,
assume
one
you
second,
do.
1 second. Well, 1 second, one
All
second.
right. All
The
right.
only see, I'm the one that's not making any assumptions here, right? So you're
No,
you're coming.
you just made an assumption about me.
No, no, no. I actually didn't. That's why I asked you the question because I don't want to assume. So I asked you a very
No,
clear.
you
I
told me
asked you a very.
something.
No, no, no. I asked you a very clear question. I asked you, can you read the hieroglyphs? Because I
No,
don't
you
want to
didn't ask me
assume you can't.
anything. You said, you don't know the hieroglyphs, do you? Because
Wait
I
a minute.
presume I do. No,
So
if you know
wait,
the
you
hieroglyphs,
said
that's great. If
wait,
you know the
wait,
hieroglyphs,
wait,
I
wait, wait.
don't.
1 second, 1 second.
So what you're
Are you
gonna do is
saying?
show me. Well, you want to go into that?
Wait,
All right,
cat,
go and
cat.
show
I'm
me.
gonna call you cat. Cat.
Hmm.
1 second, cat.
I'm cat. Yes, I am cat. Yes.
Okay, you're actually saying that I did not ask you just now. Can you read the hieroglyphs? You're actually saying that
And I said
I.
no.
But you
No, no.
just said I
I
didn't ask
answered
you a
your question.
question.
I said no. Right. So what
Okay,
you're
and
gonna do
so
is show me how you can read the hieroglyphs, right?
no, but first let's establish something. Let's
Oh
establish
no.
something.
Oh.
Wait. Let's establish something first. That I'm not making the assumption that you can't read it. I asked you if you can read it, and you
No, I
answered
said
me
no. I
no.
said no. You're not making
Right.
an assumption. You asked me a direct question. I said no.
Okay. There you go. Okay.
So you're not
Great. So
making an assumption. I told you
okay.
no.
Okay. But at
All right.
first
So
you
I
accused me
want
of making an
you,
assumption though. So
because
I
you
just want to be
asking me
clear.
that as if it's a rhetorical questions. If you know, can you read them for me?
Let's find out.
All
But
right.
but it wouldn't really matter because like I have
Oh
like
no,
there's
it
glyphs
don't
on it.
matter. So why you, if it don't matter, why are you asking me that question for?
Okay, let me at least finish my statements though.
All
So, because
right,
I'm gonna,
darling. All right,
let's
no.
just I'm trying to have
All
a,
right.
a nice conversation.
We're
Let
gonna
each
have a
one
nice
talk.
conversation because. All right,
Okay.
go on,
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right,
I
go
got
on.
time. I got time
Yeah,
today.
I got
All
time
right.
for you too. All right, go
All
on.
right.
Go
Okay.
on.
So,
No.
but I like your British accent though. But
I love your American accent. It's wonderful,
all right.
beautiful.
Okay. Good.
I
Okay.
love
So,
Americans. Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Um, you asked me. I'm going back to the original question. You had asked a question of what was the language of ancient Egypt called? What was it called? Now I gave an
Mhm.
answer. I gave an answer,
Mhm.
Rodney Kemet,
Mhm.
and apparently and I don't want to assume, but you feel that that answer is not correct.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do you know the name of the language is to be?
No, it's not about what I know because you see the thing about it. When I listen to people like this who try and presume they know what my culture is and what language we spoke, I want people like you to tell me about what Rodney Kemet is
Well,
because
you know what a
you
language is,
coined
right?
that term. No, you coined that term. I don't know what that is. I don't know what Rodney Kemet is. So for my
Okay.
people, if you told them what is Rodney Kemet, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know what the hell that shit is.
Right, that's fine because there's definitely room for
Okay.
all
So
of us to learn, right?
okay.
Wait. There's
Okay.
room for
Hmm.
there's like if you don't know what something's called, then there's room for you to learn what something's called, right?
No, it's not that I don't know what it's called. According to you, it's called something different. In
Okay,
my
but I'm asking
people's, we
you.
didn't call
I'm
it that.
okay, so I'm
No, no,
asking you the
no. I
question.
want you to tell me because you're here on the platform educating people about Kemet, right?
Yes,
Is that true or false?
that's
So
true.
when you put up the term Rodney Kemet, I want you to explain where's that? Where does this come from?
The term Ra-Ni
Yeah.
Kemet,
Where does that come from?
it comes from an ancient Egyptian text. The text is
Right.
called the Tale of Senuhat. Have you heard of that text
Tell
before?
of Sinuheb. Okay. Okay.
S- Have you
And
heard of that? Have
what
you heard that before?
where can I find it? Yeah, yeah. Where can I find that? Verse, like page. Where? Where can I find that?
You want to know you said verse?
Where can I find that, please? Thank you.
Okay, are you asking about the text itself? Wait. Be
Hang on, you
patient with
tell
me
me,
now.
Rodney Kemet, tell of the new hep. Where can I find? It's a big. I imagine it's a big text. So where is there a
It's
page
not.
number in
It's
the
not. It's not very.
middle, at the
It's not very
beginning,
big.
at the end? Where can I find it, sir?
Okay, so let me do this. I'm gonna start sharing my screen now because around one of my things is that demonstration beats conversation. So let me share. I'm gonna share my screen with you so that you won't think that I'm making these things up or what have
All
you.
right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Let's
so
go.
now I'm not
All
sure.
right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you
Make
can
it
see my
bigger.
screen.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
so let me
very
make it bigger.
tiny. Can you blow it up?
All right, there we go. Make it
Blow
bigger.
it
Is that
up.
big enough? Is that
The
okay?
story of Sinua, also
Yep.
known as Sanich,
Sa
is
Nahat.
considered one of the finest works of ancient Egyptian literature. It's a narrative set in the aftermath of the death of Pharaoh Emhen. What the hell? Hang on.
I'm in them hat.
My eyes are bad. Hang on. Emhen.
I'm in them
Pronounce
hat.
that again?
I'm in them hat.
Emhen. Whatever you make up. The founder of the 12th dynasty of Egypt in the early 20th century BC.
So
It was composed
there's your
around
time frame.
1875. Hang on, it was composed. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It was composed around 1875 BC.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, let's pause hang on, let's pause. Take that off a minute. So you're telling something the 12th century dynasty of Egypt in the early, I don't know who the hell that made up name is. All right.
I'm in them
Whatever
hat.
that white man's name is. That's
Okay, let's
we
let's
didn't
let's let's
call
look at the glyphs
ourselves
here.
these stupid ass
let's
names.
let's look at the
Yeah, all right.
at the glyphs here. This is Amenemhat right here in the middle. So are you? So now
With the
earlier
eagle head. Okay.
you said with the eagle head?
Okay.
No, right here
Or
in the
the
middle.
fog.
I don't know if you can see my
Oh,
cursor.
the one. Okay, with the hair. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
The one in
didn't
the
see
middle.
that.
The one in the middle. So we know what the middle is. Okay. So now you earlier you admitted that you
Yes,
cannot
I
read the
do. No,
glyphs. Okay. So me pulling this up,
I don't.
you said it's a made up name, but yet the name here
Mm-hmm.
is within the what most people call a cartouche, but it's called a chenu.
Cartouche. Yeah, I know what cartouche is.
Okay, so you see the name
Do you know
here for
what
this
cartouche
particular
is? Do you know what cartouche is?
well it's
You're
called a
assuming
chenu.
you know what. Hang on. So you're assuming you know what the hieroglyphic language is and the alphabet, right? To
Uh,
make up these terms is according to who? Who taught you that?
who told me that?
Yeah, who taught you that?
No, but I don't assume.
Europeans? Was this these Europeans that tried to decipher what we were writing on these walls? Is that where you learned it from, or did you learn this from Egyptians or Sudanese people? Which one?
Well, you know, Sudan is not Egypt though, right? You do know that, right?
It was part
Like no matter
of
how you
Egypt.
slice it, no matter how you
I
slice and
don't
dice
care
it,
what you think. I could tell you more about
Sudan is
what
not
it
Egypt.
says. No. I could tell you more about what it says than any European's going to do. But you'd
All right,
rather listen to
all
a
right, let's do that.
European to tell you what it means, right?
Okay, let's see
All
you do
right,
that.
go on,
Let's
carry
let's
on. All right,
let's see you do that. So
all right.
break this down. Translate this for me.
I'm going to translate shit for you.
Khartoum cat from Sudan, Ardunaman cat,
I got to
Khartoum.
translate nothing. For what?
Because I want to learn from
No,
you.
you already made up your
I want to
mind
learn
that
from
you
Sud.
understand.
I want to learn
Hang
from a
on, let me
Sudanese.
ask you this. You already made up your mind that you
I
know
want to
what
learn
this.
from a Sudanese with a British
No,
accent.
no, because we're not part of Egypt. You just told me I'm not part of it. So what are you talking about? You just told me you'd rather listen
I want
to
to
a
learn
white
from
man
a
who
Sudanese
told
with a
you.
British
No,
accent.
hang on a minute. You just
All
told
right.
me that you would rather listen to what a white man told you rather than listen
Not
to
at
a
all.
Sudanese, like a
Not at
descendant
all.
of the same people
Not
who
at
would
all.
tell you what it actually means. You rather take the
Nope.
interpretation.
I'd rather listen to you.
No,
I'd rather
you
listen
know,
to
no,
you.
you told me that. No, you just said that as if
I'd
you're
rather
gonna
listen
clown
to
me.
you.
Listen, darling, I'm
Cat.
not gonna tell you shit. No,
Cat. I'd rather listen to
no,
you.
no, you won't.
What? So now you're denying me
You won't.
knowledge?
No, you
You're
think I'm up
denying
here
me
just being like
knowledge?
I've never been up here on your platform ever one day in my life. I just happened to come across your platform, right? I just happened to come over here.
And I
And I'm
appreciate that.
listening to you and I
I
want to
appreciate that.
address you and that's it, right? And I want
Okay,
to
now I
have a
appreciate
conversation
that.
with you. That's all, right?
Okay.
But you want to
Okay.
tell me as if I can't tell you what it means. And
No,
I
I
can
want you
tell
to.
you
I want you to.
I don't know how to if I tell you I don't know how to interpret the hieroglyphs and what they say, you're gonna tell me, well, you ain't shit. Well, get out of here.
Well, don't assume
But you'd
that.
rather
I wanna
you'd
learn
rather
from you.
say, I believe a white man's guesses
No, that's
for
not
what
the
it
case.
means.
That's not the. Let's clarify that. That's not the case. I want to learn from you because you're on. You got boots on the ground. You're in Sudan. Are you in Sudan right now? Or you in
No.
London? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where are you located? You're in London now.
In London, yeah.
Okay. So, but you're from
I was
your
born in
people.
Sudan. Yeah,
Okay,
I was
great.
born in Sudan. But
Okay,
that's the thing. I'm in Sudan and I'm here,
Okay, good.
right?
So I want to learn from you.
But I have
Right.
people
I want to learn
across
from you.
the globe trying to tell me what the hieroglyphs means. Like, according to who?
Okay, I want to hear according to Cat from Khartoum. So I
No,
want you to tell me
no,
what
no,
these
no.
glyphs are saying.
They're saying a lot of stuff, but you know what?
Can you do that? Can you do that for me?
Listen, Sesh, or whatever, however you pronounce your name. Seychelles? Seychelles?
No, Wu Jiao.
Sesh?
Wu Jiao. No, Wu Jiao.
Majahu? Oh, Majahu.
Wu Jiao.
Your name sounds familiar. Are you like from Garfields and like Those
Where?
channels over there.
No, Wu
Garfield?
Jiao. No, I'm not Garfield.
Wojahu. I just know that name from somewhere. Wojahu.
Okay, well that'd be great
Anyway.
if you did.
Yeah. Okay, you don't go over those conscious community channels like Sarnetta and all them.
No, not Sarnetta. No.
I feel like I know this name. I don't know where I found you, but I found you anyway. But
no, but that's great.
I
want to know what this says from you, from a Sudanese person.
But that's the thing. What has it got to do with you?
I just want to learn.
And this was my whole point when I came
I want to
take
advantage. I want to take advantage of your presence. I want to take advantage of your presence because
you try and do that, but you have to understand, us as Sudanese people, us as people who hold our heritage very close to us, we're not going to express that to you. Okay? The heritage that we have, we're not going to explain.
You're going to deny me.
Yes. Deny.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, denied. Because why would we? You see how these Europeans come in? We don't tell them anything, right? They have to really go deep, dig, and try and find a connection to them. We don't allow them into our shit, okay? In any way, shape, or form. Show me one Sudanese or Egyptian who's been like, oh, hello, yeah, this is this and this. No, we don't do that. Because we understand our culture and how sacred it is. Who violates that, it's going to get their comeuppance. All right?
Okay.
And I think of you in the same way. Okay?
Why?
For me,
Why?
my culture is not something that should be violated. Should be spread around.
So you feel I'm violating your culture?
Yes.
Okay. How am I violating your culture? Explain
because
that.
You're expressing that to I guess a demographic of people that don't come from my part of the world. So why are you doing that?
Wait, so you're saying I'm violating your culture because I'm expressing something to a group of people that's not from there.
Yeah, that don't adhere to the same kind of ideology that we did. So why would you?
But how do you learn about any?
Hang on 1 second. Given that the culture that you're talking about is very specific to a part of the world, right? Yes. Northeast Africa. Why would you express that to a people in West Africa and say, guys, this is a great culture. You should follow that when it's not part of their indigenous culture. Why would you do that? Because what you're doing,
I don't do that. Wait. I don't. Wait. I don't do that.
No, hang on. Let me. Can I?
Okay, I'll let you. I'll let you finish, but I'm gonna correct you afterwards.
So what you're doing is twisting their mind and thinking that you should look to Northeast Africa. Don't laugh, because this is what you're doing. You're looking at it like, oh, look over here. This was better than you. When actually, when you look over, West Africa has a lot of rich culture over there, a lot of great civilizations and empires. Why don't you talk about that?
All right, so let me wait. All right, so let me correct you. You must watch other people's channel, because my name is Wujau. I do not tell people that they're ancient Egyptian or that they should become ancient Egyptian or anything like that. So you have me confused.
Okay, so what is your
else.
heritage? What's your heritage?
I am an American. I live in America.
So what's your heritage?
I'm an African American.
And what's your heritage?
What do you mean, what's my heritage?
Let's go in. What's your heritage? What's your ancestry? Are you one of those that don't do your DNA? I know you want to sit up here talking about I'm here from here. Why? Wait. I'm trying to just clarify your question. Wait. I'm gonna assume.
No. We don't want to do that. We don't want to assume.
Oh, I will. I'm gonna assume.
Okay, so it's okay for you to assume, but
no, I'm gonna assume. Well, go on and correct me. Go on.
Okay, so wait a minute.
West African descent? If you can correct me, I'll eat my eat my ass, whatever. Go on.
Yeah, biologically I am. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So why are you talking about Egypt for?
Because
is that your heritage?
No, but it doesn't have to be for me to talk about it. Just like you're in London. London, the UK is not
No,
your
no, no.
heritage.
But I think, no, no,
And
no.
you
This is the
and you speak
difference. Okay.
very well British. You speak it very well. It's
Oh,
you're
thank
very
you.
eloquent.
Oh, I speak English. All right. Oh, thank you.
Ve-
You speak good American. Well
yeah,
done.
exactly.
Like, what the hell is
But
that
my
supposed to mean?
no,
All right.
what it
Thank
mean
you.
no, what it means is that I don't need Egypt to be my heritage to talk about it. No,
All right.
no,
So
no,
why don't
no
you
more.
talk more about where you're from, West African culture? Why don't you do that?
How do you know I don't?
Because I've looked at your channel and you don't.
Well, on this channel
You
is
seem to be
called.
besotted about the wave, and this is what's so funny about it, right? No, hang on. This is what's so funny about it. A
All
lot
right,
of you
what's
guys,
funny?
and it's probably stemming off the conversation I had earlier on Clubhouse, and it's probably got me riled up, and I'm here now, like just
Yeah,
ready
that's
to
why you
chop
got
heads
see
off.
over here
Like I'm a true
over here you got it.
Kandake, yeah. I'm a
You
true,
got to take some tea. You got
yes.
to drink that
I
that
have
that
that
that, that English
Kandake
tea.
spirit. Yeah, I'm ready
Yeah,
to like
you got to drink
swipe heads off
that
around here.
English
All
tea
right.
before you come
Yeah,
over
I'm
here. But
one
go
of
ahead.
those.
And some
Mhm.
biscuits.
No,
Some tea and
that's the way
biscuits.
I am. If you don't like it, that's the way I'm. I don't like no biscuits. I just want to take heads off around here. All right. Now I've heard
Okay.
you before because my man, I think, he came over to your channel like probably a few months ago, and he was just learning from you and
What's
stuff.
his
And
name?
I
What's
just
his
was like,
name?
okay, let me hear what you got.
What's his name?
One community, one community.
Do I remember that
You
name?
remember
I
him?
That sounds
That was a
familiar.
while ago. Yeah, he
That
just came up
sounds
and just kind
familiar.
of, yeah, you know. Yeah,
That
you
sounds
probably
familiar.
know him. I think he's been up here a couple of times. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's my big or listened in. This is the first time I ever came up on your panel, and I
Okay.
was listening,
And
and
again, I
your
appreciate that.
co-host, I can't remember her name. Your co-host that you usually have up
Emmy
here,
Emmy
this
Cat?
sister, yeah,
Yeah.
Emmett Cat, yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know where she's from or her background and stuff like that. So I listened to her and I listened to you guys, and you know, you seem like you're giving out really good information, and
Okay, I appreciate
you
that.
know, that's great. Like I appreciate what you guys
But
are
you want
doing.
to take my head anyway, though, right?
Yeah. But now I'm here, and
You want
he's
to take
been
my
like,
head off?
don't do that today. I'm like, really? Because as an African woman, as a Sudanese woman, as a Nubian woman, I don't like people telling me what my history is, especially not any other people outside of my continent. All right. Now
Okay.
you have to understand that you wouldn't like anyone telling you what your history is outside of yourself, right? So this
I
is
don't think
why I
anybody.
listen and I
I
just
don't think
chill, be
anybody
like,
would.
yeah, and I'm like, all right, let me see. And honestly, I hear a lot of theories
Hmm.
and people like discussing different, contentions and having all this stuff, but ultimately, you're not gonna know what we're doing, okay? Because actually, as Nubian or Sudanese or ancient Egyptians that were driven out of Egypt at that time, we were very secretive about what we did and how we, upheld our culture. And this is why
Hmm.
people have spent thousands of years trying to figure it out. Yeah, and for most of the part, it's died out. You're
So
not
can
gonna
I ask
find
you?
people
So
that really
let
know.
me ask you. Let me ask you a couple of questions, actually. So now, speaking of your Sudanese heritage and the fact
Mm.
that you're from the continent, East Africa specifically, and right below modern day Egypt,
Hmm.
does anybody in your family still have a continuity with the traditions and practices of ancient Egypt?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
And you'd be hard pressed to find anyone really in Africa that actually does. And this is why it's funny to me when I listen to I get it though. I get it why African Americans find this culture very fascinating and stuff like that. But for the most part, the people that were part of that culture and the remnants of that don't adhere to that culture anymore. That's like a dead
Right.
culture to them. Yeah.
So to
So
you,
when I
is it dead?
hear,
Is it dead to you?
yeah, it's like a dead, yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So when
Okay.
I hear African Americans talking about it and try and revive this culture, it's kind of disheartening. It's like, why are you worried about a culture that died out, thousands of years ago? No one's worrying about that anymore. Most
So let me.
people in Sudan and Egypt are Muslim. They've moved
Hmm.
on from whatever, these Kemetic spiritual practices. It's not like that anymore. So why are you spreading that to people knowing it's a dead culture? And no
Yeah.
one there can be a priest. There's no pharaohs anymore there. So who are they praying to? Who are they adhering to? There's nobody there. The
So
culture's been
so
dead for thousands of years. So
so let me
stop
ask you.
selling these people this dead dream. I know it sounds
Yeah.
good, but
Well, but
there's
but but hold
nothing.
up, wait. I have to stop you because I don't want anybody listening to you say what you're saying now think that applies to me. Now, like you said, you may come off a Clubhouse. I heard you mention Sonetta and stuff like that, Garfield's channel. You may hear
Mhm.
other people do that on those channels, but I don't want you to confuse that with me or what I do or my intentions or anything like that. Because my records speak
So
for
what are you?
itself. The
All right. So what are
archives
you
of
selling?
of the
Because
channel. Because
but
see, here's the thing
you
is, I'm the
no no
opposite. I
no.
tell
I
I tell
heard
wait,
you trying to
let me
sell a
finish.
language that doesn't exist. So
Wait. Sell a language
of
that
course
doesn't
I'm gonna come
exist.
and be like, "What are you doing?"
Wait. You said sell a language that does not exist,
Yeah, you're
right?
trying to sell people a language that doesn't exist. Like,
Well, one, I don't sell a language though,
okay,
but
tell
your
me
point. No,
anyone
to
that
your point. And the ancient Egyptian language is taught on the college level. You do know that, right?
okay.
It's taught on the college level. I could show you,
Okay, according to
different
who? Some
universities.
European standards. Okay,
No,
so according to
it's
the
no, it's actually
Metaliterate,
taught.
okay, according
It's
to the
actually
Metaliterate,
start at
who can
it's
trans?
actually taught
No.
at
Can
the
you?
at
I
the
don't
at
care
colleges
what
in
they
Egypt
teach.
today,
I don't
and I
care
believe
what they can
In
teach
Sudan,
or think they can teach.
in
No,
Khartoum
it's not.
University. It's not.
No, my father works at Khartoum University, darling, and that shit is not taught there. All
Okay,
right.
no. Listen. So
Look up
what I'm
my
saying is that
dad.
the
He
language.
worked at,
Oh, what's your
listen,
dad's name?
sir.
What's your dad's name?
I
What's your
ain't
dad's
telling
name?
you my dad's name.
Ma'am, ma'am,
Nah, because he'll
ma'am.
cuss me out if I'm up here. Like, I'm not gonna tell you. My dad works at Khartoum University, right, in Sudan. Sir, I'm not gonna tell you who my father is. Okay, and what he
Okay.
does there. And I'm gonna
You don't
tell
have.
you,
Okay,
I
no.
will send
You
you
have
if
to
you
tell me his
drop me.
name, but
No,
tell
no,
me,
no.
but tell me his profession. Like, what is his specialty in? At least tell me that.
He's a doctor,
Of
PhD
what? A PhD of what?
of whatever you want. my
See, hold
my
up. I don't know
father.
what kind of tea you been
I'm not.
drinking though.
I'm not even joking, guys.
she got
I
that English.
swear to God. And it's my father was actually he don't work there anymore. I can't even lie. I'm not gonna lie. But he worked at the University of Khartoum for a long time. Now he lives in
Okay,
Dubai and he works
let
over there.
me
But
ask you a
he
question. Let me ask
was
you a question.
a professor.
Cat, let me
My
ask you a question.
father was a
Cat,
professor. He is
do
a
you have an
doctor.
interest in ancient Egypt culture? Do you have an interest in
No,
ancient Egyptian
not
culture?
really.
You
No.
don't?
For what?
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. So
But
listen.
I get what you're
There
saying because it's my indigenous culture and I should be. But how is that gonna benefit me now in 2022? For what? I can
it
go
may
back
it may
and look at how the world has been influenced by Egyptian culture and language and hieroglyphics and images, and I can go into the
Are
rabbit
you
hole.
Muslim? Are you Muslim?
I was raised a Muslim. Yeah, I'm
Are
not
you
though.
now? You're not anymore?
No, I'm
So
not. That's why I can call you a
you had
stupid
your
asshole.
you had your
No, I'm not.
you had your shahada
No,
and everything?
no,
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
not a Muslim.
you're not okay, but
I
you were
reject
raised.
that religion. I reject Islam. I reject Arab language as a Sunnis woman. I've rejected that a long time ago.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
do
rejected it. I this is what I was having a conversation on Clubhouse earlier. I reject all of that. That's not part of
Okay,
me.
do you have
I
do you
don't. I
have
don't adhere
a
to any of my oppressors' languages or religions. No,
do
I
you
don't.
have a preferential like belief or religion or anything? Like do you have a
No.
religion, or do you have a practice that you adhere to?
Um, treat people how you want to be treated. I guess that's my mantra.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. So,
Other than
okay,
that,
so
nah.
now here's the thing. Like the whole planet has many different cultures. It's diverse. You know, the planet is rich in the human
Hmm.
population, rich in languages, rich in culture and things like that. And I think that we should learn and respect many cultures around the world. Not to say that we are of
Of
that
course.
culture or try to be a culture vulture, but we should learn other people's cultures, at least in the very least, to respect it, right? So like if I
Yeah.
have Chinese
Hmm.
friends and whatnot, I should, and if I know more about Chinese culture, then I would be better off, communicating and having a better understanding of where they come,
Hmm.
of their mindset and their views, their world views and things like that. So
All right.
same
Let me
thing with
ask you
Africa.
something. Okay,
All
given
right.
that point that you just made, so if you're dealing with a Chinese person, you understand their culture, how to
Mm.
greet, and be polite and all that stuff.
Okay.
Now, is that gonna pass over to if you met someone from Japan?
Not the same thing, but the principle, yeah. But I mean, obviously they speak different language and stuff, yeah.
The
Like Chinese or
principles?
Japanese. No,
What
the prince
principles?
the principle of
Well, no,
learning
the
enough
Chinese
about
have
their
a way
culture.
of bowing, kneeling, all
Right.
that stuff. So it's very specific to their culture. Japanese maybe
Yeah.
have a
It's
different, and
different. It's different.
Koreans maybe
It's
different,
different. It's
Vietnamese
different.
maybe different,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So you have
Yes.
to adapt to where you're going.
To each
So
one.
when it
Exactly.
comes to when you're
Exactly.
talking about
Same thing with
us
Egypt and
as
Sudan, by the way.
Africans,
Hmm.
right? So this is where I'm going. You already know where I'm going, right? So when it comes to that, you can't tell me that the way that we accept greetings and acceptance in our culture is going to
Right.
be the same as even someone right next door to us. Chad,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nigeria.
Absolutely.
So you
Absolutely.
can't say because someone accepted that in their land that I should accept the same greetings, you know,
Absolutely.
the
Yeah, I
same
agree with you.
prosperities in my land. So
You see
if I
that?
say to you, come at me with the same kind of shit, I'll be like, get out of here. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, nah.
Okay,
You
but
think
you
like
see that?
I was a
We
dickhead like this motherfucker next door? Nah, you're gonna show me a lot more respect when you come over here.
so listen to
Do you know
that.
what I
We
mean?
we
Like,
yes, I agree with you 100%. But yeah, you want to take my head off.
I do, and I'm gonna by the end of this. But carry
No,
on because
because we're
I don't know. I don't know.
we're not.
I
No,
don't know if your
I'm not gonna do this
convention
for too
say
much longer
it's
now.
like
I'm not gonna do this for too much
no, we
longer.
can do this
I got
all day long.
no.
Like I don't
You
mind.
you may be able to do it all day long. I got 4 minutes with you. But no, but on a
Four
serious note,
minutes.
yeah. Because there are other people on the panel. I gotta let another brother on, and
Well, let
I
them
can't.
on. Why can't you let them on? Do I have to jump
Yeah,
off?
no, you don't have to jump off.
All right, let me
But
leave and let
no,
someone
no,
else
no, no,
come
no,
on.
no, 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 no. Well,
I'll
wait,
leave.
wait, 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 wait. No, no, wait. Before you leave, though, before you leave, I just want to say that I definitely agree with your last statement, and that's the point I was making about China and the diversity. And so the fact that I take my time to learn something about Chinese culture, something about Japanese culture, something about Korean culture, whatever, doesn't
Mm.
mean that I want to be Chinese, I want to be Korean, or I want to be Japanese. I don't have to see myself in it in order to learn about it. So the same thing with
I would
ancient
just
Egypt. I
no,
don't
no,
have
no.
to
I
be
would
ancient
say for
Egyptian.
you, I would love you to have actually some people that come from there coming to speak about who they actually are. It's instead of you assuming, because a lot of
Well,
people
if I
just
could travel
have.
back in time and do that, I
Well,
would I would I would I
you
would
have me
I would love
now.
to resurrect
Listen,
an ancient Egyptian.
I'm a claim myself as an ancient Egyptian, as a newborn woman, all that shit. Now I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna harass you every goddamn day. Okay.
Okay,
Anytime
so I
you're
tell
up
you
on
what.
here, I'm gonna
I tell
go
you
in
what.
on you,
Email me give me your email. Give me
question
your
all your
email, and
shit.
I'm gonna formally invite you as
All
a
right.
guest. We'll do something. Give me your email
Yeah. No,
address.
thank you for just letting me come up here and just be an asshole and just be like, just
No, no,
talking
no.
shit. Because
I
no, no,
appreciate it.
no. For me, I just think if you're gonna spread information, I would love it if it comes from, you know, people
The
that
horse's mouth. The horse's mouth, basically, right?
yeah, from the horse's mouth. Like, don't insinuate. And oftentimes when it's people like me that come around and say, like, hang on, what's going on over here? You're like, fuck off. What you don't know what the hell are you talking about? No, hang on.
Yeah, I get it.
You're talking about
Nah, I get it.
me. You're talking about me and my ancestors.
Yep,
So
I
yes,
get it.
I will come over here and I will express myself because I don't want my culture to be violated and bastardized by people that don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think
Okay?
that's why Uja really wanted you to explain to us. If you have since you have 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes, I know he's gonna invite you next time. But since like what you're saying, like you don't want other people to bastardize your culture. So take
Right.
the opportunity right now to actually tell us something about your culture. Like just give, teach for just a minute or whatever, how long it might take you just to,
Yeah,
at
I'll
least
give them a very brief. Yeah, I'll give them a little brief overview about me and the way that how I identify myself. I'm a Sudanese person. I'm a northern Sudanese person, born in Khartoum, right? And I believe my people were pushed outside of Egypt. Okay, were pushed. Okay, removed out of Egypt into Sudan. Okay. Now we can talk about everything that happened between the North and the South Sudanese. That's a whole different story. Okay, we had civil wars between us for a long time because we encroached into their land. Now, for us as people that spread around southern Sudan, then because a lot of you gonna get confused, either northern Egypt, which is the south, okay, and Sudan. Okay, Nubia, where I'm from. Okay, we can go into Meroe and all that. We can go into Khartoum, where I'm born. We can have discussions about all of that and the culture that we brought. We can talk about Elephantine. We can talk about. There's a lot of things that I can talk to you guys about. Given my people, I can only tell you about my people. Okay, we know
Hey,
Sudan is
Cat.
not a homogenous society. It's yes.
Right.
So
So okay. So let's do this. So if you can seriously just drop your email in the chat or whatever, and then you can you can explain
yeah, I will.
a
But
little bit more about that, because that's an interesting topic of your of what you said in terms of being driven out of Egypt in the past, and finding yourselves in northern Sudan, all the way down to Khartoum, and so on and so
right.
forth.
But
That
a
would
lot
be
of people don't want
interesting.
to hear that. They're like, oh, well, you
No,
just.
no, that would be an interesting topic. So I would love for you to expound on that, but definitely not now, but definitely in the future. All right.
All right. Let me put
So
your.
so
Put
so
your.
if you could put your email in the chat, then I'll contact you.
I will. Hang on.
But I do have to
All
let
right,
other people
guys.
on.
Thank you
But
so
I
much.
appreciate.
Yeah,
Okay.
for no, I appreciate you guys for even entertaining my bullshit. Like, it's good though because I'm trying to get back into my education and learning from other people, and I
All right.
appreciate you guys for having these kind
Okay.
of
Well, I
conversations.
appreciate it.
So, all right, guys.
All right. I
Peace, peace,
got it.
peace.
All right. Peace.
All right. Bye. Bye.
All right. Ross' son being very, very patient there, brother. I know he's like, man, now she left. I have something to say. But Ross' son, peace to you.
I would rather have. I wanted to ask her a few questions directly myself, but sister, look, I have to give some level of respect to anyone who wants to defend their culture. The thing is, just talking crap at people is not defending the culture. If you can't even offer a reasonable alternative of the information that you're contradicting, then you're not really providing.
Rob, hold on, Rob, excuse me 1 second. You sound real. I can hear you, but you sound low. Is there a way that you could turn it up?
How about now? Hold on for me. Let me
Okay,
find out
keep
what's
talking.
going on.
I
1 second. I'm always having problems with. I thought I had that
man, look
figured
like you got
out.
a lot of electronics around you, man. What's going on? You
Hey man,
got
I got stuff. I be moving. I've been here
you
working. Hold
got you
on.
got you got you got a dry eraser board. I see about 5 monitors behind you. You got like 6 or 7 microphones.
I'll be trying to do.
So because I'm trying to make sure we can hear you. I can hear you, but it's low.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a better way. I'm trying to see which one.
But I don't want to stop you. I can hear you.
How
It's
about
just
now?
that you were. Yeah, that's better. Okay, go for it. Yep.
All right. So yeah. So I mean, I have to give some respect to someone who would defend their culture. The problem is culture involves meaning and meaningful, substantive conversation. You know, if the only part of your substantive conversation involves your angst about people being interested in your culture, you know, then okay. Once we get past that and the emotionalism of it, okay, we're done with that conversation. There's not really much else to say about it. Okay, we got your point on that. That's the way you. But there could be some arguments against the emotionalism as it relates to that. Because in terms of growing, a particular culture, and I'll get back to something she said in a moment about that. But when the way cultural development works is that you invite people into your culture, and they may never ever be seen as part of the main crust of it. But you have like you have your culture, then you have your culture incorporated. So you may have this inner group who represents the main culture itself, and then and that's all Christianity is. That's all these other groups that have gone out and spread across the world, have done. I'd be honest. It's not just East Africans. I've had this. I find this really bizarre. The way some of them think about their culture. It's like isn't one of the ways that the colonizers have won is that they have spread their culture, across the world. At what point do we get to the point that we realize that there's got to be some kind of reason for that there's a benefit doing that, um, and if you're going to want some of that, what they're doing is to work at least passively to spread your own culture, So to me, why I got an African, West African who come to me, with the same kind of cultural appropriation type thing. Not that black people in this country are exactly trying to do exactly what y'all doing in Africa. In either case, whether it's in Egypt or West Africa or whatever, Nigeria, whatever, Ghana. But the bottom line is that it makes sense to have a sort of incorporated version of your culture that's spreading. That's done. Why? Because that brings, all kind of human, material, all kind of different culture. I mean, in social resources back to the main hub. And this goes back to the whole question of unity. I really don't understand why people would be upset, except if people were saying they are ancient Sudani or they are the ancient Egyptian. But there are some people out there that say that, but I don't see that as a necessary argument to make any more than it's a necessary argument if I practice Zen Buddhism or whatever to say that I'm a member of the ancient Chinese or whatever culture that or group of people that actually originated those cultures. I don't have to do that anyways. You were saying that earlier. It just seems odd to me that people have these kind of emotional kind of reactions to people being legitimately interested in their culture to the point that they would spend quite a bit of time studying. Now, the other problem I had, and after this I'm done, the biggest problem I have with everything that I saw just then was that this really had nothing to the table other than her emotional aversion for black people in America or whatever outside of Egypt being interested in that culture, and even in some cases reviving that culture. And it's a bizarre thing because let's be honest, the very letters that she's typing, for us to read, that's where that came from. There's very few things in modern culture that aren't touched by ancient, Egyptian, Sudanese culture in some way whatsoever. So how is it that if we're gonna take that position, okay, let's just go out all over the world and collect all of these, these cultural elements that has been extrapolated or whatever into the world throughout time and stuff like that. We just go bring it all and put it in a storage counter somewhere, cabinet somewhere, and nobody else does anything outside of that. Mathematics, all that. So we just get all that stuff that came that developed in ancient Egypt and Nubia, or ancient Sudan or whatever. All that stuff, we just bring it back to where it began and just leave it there. And what's even more ridiculous in my view about what she's saying is, let it die. So basically what she's talking about is a complete reboot of culture altogether. If we take her logic to its logical end, it just doesn't make sense whatsoever. So anyway, I'm done with it. I would have liked to have asked her a few questions about it because she definitely seems to be kind of interested in ending the development of that of this particular line of culture, which is always kind of interesting when I see. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah. No, no, no. Okay, so now that's good. And see what I don't want to happen because I have limited time today, and I didn't want to start a volley that will need to be extensive instead. So I think that she gave her perspective, but I'll hope to have her back on intentionally in order to kind of give a little more insight so she can share her thoughts on the migration from Egypt into the Sudan based on what she mentioned. When she mentioned that she felt that her and her people were pushed out of Egypt into Sudan at some time in the past. So I'm interested in hearing more about information about that. So hopefully she hears, and we could set up something where she can explain or expound on that from her perspective. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
cool.
I'm interested in anything. Look, if there's anybody that has some information about this particular subject that can have new information to the conversation, I would love to have that. But don't if you're not really well. Anyway, bottom line is I'm here for that, but actually do it. Otherwise you're just trolling. You know.
Yeah, I think most of us are definitely here for that. And if anybody knows, we do talk about just even when it comes to Nubia and Nubian and the expansion and the detraction of the borders and all that. So this is something that actually interests us, and I'm pretty sure that everybody on this particular channel who frequents this particular channel always wants to hear firsthand experiences and all that kind of stuff, which is why I think it was a wasted opportunity to actually, if you are of the belief that your culture is being misappropriated or mistaught in that sense, and then you get the chance to be on a platform to actually correct those kind of things, then you take it and you do that, obviously. And and I would suggest, even when doing that, is not just to say that, but to point out where it is being, to be very, very specific where that is being done. And, this is the error, this is what is being said, and this is the error about it, and this is what is correct about it. And obviously, I would think that knowing that, if you have that kind of issue, then you probably not going to do much on particular channels. but you might actually have a beef, let me just call it that, with the whole field of study of Egyptologists. And that most people, when they're really, really honest and legitimate about their pursuit, would actually take that particular study. We are like for example, I when I got into web design and all of that, it happens from if somebody messes up your web design and everything, then you feel like, okay, I want to do better, so you learn. So somebody else, that's how people actually take particular pursuits. It's like something is wrong, so I'm going to do that. So this could be like it's not the channels themselves. If it's a particular culture and you have a problem, which you did actually emphasize, that where did you learn it from? Did you learn it from some white Europeans? Which means you're talking about Egyptology as a whole. So your problem has probably to deal with Egyptology as a whole. So that might give you an interest to to pursue that particular field of study, so that you can be that person who actually brings more input into that particular study. So I would just suggest that obviously we are very interested, and I hope that she will come on the channel and actually have a more focused discussion on those particular issues or contentions that she has. But also, knowing that that is not going to move the needle so much, as opposed to actually dealing head on with Egyptology itself. And that is something to think about in itself. And also just when you get the opportunity to teach, just teach, because definitely this channel, everybody's open. Like Rasan said, he would have loved to hear more about it. I would have loved to hear more about it. I know Ujao asked about what she knew about the different texts and things of that nature, but so that didn't get much to that. But it actually ties back to everything that the discussion started with, and I think Ujao might get into that with the whole book club and the book that we were studying.
So listen, what I don't want to do, because the sister Cat is still in the chat, and I don't want it to be perceived that, okay, we're continuing a conversation about her and then she's not on the panel and stuff. So I don't want to do that. Like I said, I don't have the time today to let that play all the way out. So I don't think that's fair. So that's why when she said that she was leaving, and I mentioned I don't have that much time, and I want to kind of spread the mic around, so we can get into that another time. So hopefully the sister will be able to come back, and then we could kind of dive in on. But see, what I'm interested in is the migratory question about some of the ancient Egyptians migrating or being pushed out of ancient Egypt into Sudan, and where are they today? And so she's saying that that's her heritage, and that she's Nubian, she's from Khartoum, she's now in the UK, but that's her heritage and whatnot, and so on and so forth. So since she is one of those people, I would love to hear from her perspective if she could share some information on all of that good stuff. So, but what I do want to do while we are here now, because I get asked this question a lot, um, and I always answer it, but not in a group setting. I always answer it based on the individual who asked me the question. And so I want to share this on the screen because people hear me say the word Rodney Kemet all the time for the language of ancient Egypt, the ancient Egyptian language. Now, many people around me are already familiar with that term, Rodney Kemet, so I don't have to explain it. But obviously, to people who haven't heard it ever before, or whatever the case is, they're like, "Well, what the heck is a Rodney Kemet?" Some people even play and say Rodney Kemet as if it's two words, like the name Rodney and Kemet. I saw somebody create a YouTube name, a Google name, Rodney Kemet, but it's Ra, Ni, and then Kemet, and that's the language of ancient Egypt. That's what the Egyptians themselves called it. Now, how do we know that they called it that way? Is because it's within text, various different texts, ancient themselves, primary sources will inform us of what they called it. And one such text is now called the tale of Senuhe, or the story of Senuhe. And so what I have on the screen right now is a cropped image of the papyrus of the tale of Senuhe. And if anyone wants to look up this papyrus in more detail, It's in the Berlin. Excuse me. It's referred to Berlin Papyrus 3022. So if you were to look that up and get the facsimile, you can get the entire papyrus. Get images of the entire papyrus if you can read the hieratic or the writing system on the papyrus. Have at it. Read it yourself if you can read it. If you can't, then get a translation or whatever the case is. Do what you have to do to get it. But in here, on line on line 31 of this papyrus is where you'll see the term Rodney Kemet. It's actually from line 31. It's in the whole section from line 31 through line 36. All right. Specifically where you'll find the term would be. So let me share this because I want to show the papyrus itself so that people could see the original. And that's what you see on the screen. I don't know. Should I make that bigger? Is it gonna make it bigger? I think it's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. So hopefully you all can see that. Matter of fact,
World Health
let me
Organization
see that. Yeah.
make a kind of announcement.
So you all can see that.
Any of us look quite to hear it so soon.
And I can't move it around. Yeah, that's just a crop picture. I think Ross, I think I hear some noise in the background. So this is the particular papyrus here. All right, and I'm only showing this so people could see that the papyrus does exist and that you can look further into it and get images
All right,
of
just
the whole thing.
I'm only
What up,
showing this so
Rasan?
people can see that the papyrus does
You got to mute out.
exist, and that you can look further.
Rasan, you got to mute out.
Oh,
Have to mute
what's
Rasan
that?
out.
I'm sorry, you talking to me, brother? What you say?
Yeah, yeah. I was saying that you I hear you playing. I hear myself on the audio. So if you can mute yourself, it's like a big echo.
Hey, okay, I'm sorry. Hold on.
It's a big echo.
You were saying that I hear you playing.
I didn't know. I didn't know how that happened. That better?
No, you can listen. I'm just saying. I'm gonna mute you from this end.
Okay.
All right, and you can keep what you do. All right. There we go. So, just real quickly, you all, on the screen is a small section of the whole papyrus of the Tale of Senuhe. All right, it is the papyrus. It is the papyrus Berlin 3022. So if you want to look that up, just you can actually Google it. Berlin Papyrus 3022. That's the catalog number 3022. And I was saying in particular, you will see the name of the Egyptian language in line. It begins at the end of line 31 and it goes on to the beginning of line 32 is where you'll see this term Rani Kemet. And the full line, and I'm just going to read it to you all in obviously Egyptology speak, as we all are familiar with. Jedefini Nefertu Henai Sejamek Rani Kemet. And what that is saying is Jedefini, he said to me, Nefertu, that you will be good or you'll be well. Henai, with me. That means that you'll be fine with me, meaning that you'll be fine around me, to tarry with me. And then Sejem Ek, you will hear, which is where Sejem is the word for listen or hear or to understand. Sejem Ek is you will understand or you will hear, and then it has the language Rani Kemet. You will hear Egyptian. So in other words, if you understand the full story of Senuhe, I'm only reading this one line, but if you understand the full story of Senuhe, Senuhe is in foreign territory. And so he's approached by a gentleman, and the gentleman says, hey, come follow me and hang with me, and I'll take you, and where I'm going, you're going to hear other people speak your language. And what he's saying is that Sejamek Rani Kemet, you're going to hear people speak Rani Kemet, the Egyptian language. So you're going to be fine with me. Don't worry. All right. That's what the context of that statement is being made. So whenever people ask me, what is the name of the ancient Egyptian language, everyone and their mother who studies this knows that it's Rani Kemet. But then when people need to know, okay, from where do we derive that, then this is one of the sources that you can go to, all right, which is the tale of Senuhe. And people say it as Senuhe, but his name is Sa Nahat, all right, which is the son of the sycamore. That's the person's name, Senuhe, all right. So I hope that that's sufficient for everyone. And matter of fact, let me escape out of this so you all can see the site I'm on. It says the papyrus with the life story of Senuhe, text B and R. And it says this famous text is the life of Senuhe. This text belongs to the classical literature of ancient Egypt in Middle Egyptian language. The autobiography of Senuhe, and his name means the son of the sycamore, is one of the linguistically richest literary works of Egypt and had a firm place in the school literature of the New Kingdom. The action takes place in the Middle Kingdom. Senuhe was a royal harem official and henchman on military campaigns. By random, he becomes a witness when a messenger brings to the crown prince and co-regent Senwosret the news of the death of his father Amenemhat I, who had fell victim to a conspiracy, etc., etc. I don't want to get into the full story, but the point of me showing and bringing this up is to elaborate on the name of the Egyptian language being Rani Kemet. All right, so hopefully that's understood, and that was the purpose of me sharing that. Another thing that people ask me is, what is the name of the hieroglyphic writing system? And the answer to that is Sesh, Medew, Netcher. Sesh, Medew, Netcher. The word Sesh means to scribe. As a verb, it means to scribe, to scratch. And it's the word for writing or writer. And we translate it as scribe, Sesh, scribe. And then Medew, Netcher is the phrase meaning divine words. Or some people may translate Netcher as God, and they'll say words of God. So it's the written words of God. Some people will translate it that way. But nevertheless, that's the name that the ancient Egyptians themselves gave to that writing system. Sesh, Medew, Netcher. So those are two terms. If you didn't know already, now you know. Rani Kemet is the name of the language, and Sesh, Medew, Netcher is the name of the hieroglyphic writing system. All right. They had another word for a different writing style of writing called Sesh Nishat. And that was a more cursive form instead of it being pictorial nature. So for example, what you saw on the screen, let me share that again. When you see this on the screen, these are not pictorial glyphs that we see on statues and monuments and in stone. This is a more simplified version of that. And so scholars call this hieratic, but hieratic is really a misnomer, because the word hieratic comes from the Greek hieraticus, which means sacred writings, because Clement of Alexander in the 2nd century AD, he's the one that in his experiences while being in Egypt, he witnessed Egyptian priests writing in this style. So he called it priestly writing. But that's a misnomer, because this writing style existed all the way back in the Old Kingdom. So it's not that it was restricted for priests. It was written all throughout Egypt's history. Not only did the priests write with this style, but non-priests wrote in this style as well. So priestly writing is a misnomer. It's only relevant to Clement of Alexander in that time frame. But the Egyptians called it Sesh Nishat, which means document writing. Okay, document writing, which is what later become known as Demotic, or from Demoticus, which is popular writing. Clement Alexander named it all. He named Hieroglyphica or Hieroglyphic. What's the other one? Hieroglyphic. Then we have Hieratica, and then we have Demotic or Demoticus, which is popular writing. So priestly writing, popular writing, and then sacred writing. That's what Clement of Alexander did, and that's why we call it that to this very day. Hieroglyphic, sacred writing. Hieratic, priestly writing. Demotic, popular writing. That's what those terms mean. All right, so far that's enough. That's sufficient. So let me go back to the chat. Anything else? What were we talking about before? So just to kind of because I need to get going. Actually, I have to be done the live stream by 3:30. So I got 15 minutes to kick it left in a period where I have to end this. So let me just summarize what I was saying before. The book that you see on the screen here is what we had read about, and I would encourage everybody to read it. Even the sister still in the chat, Cat from Khartoum, or Khartoum Cat. It would be. This is an interesting read. I would recommend that she reads this book. But nevertheless, the whole conversation about the identity of ancient Egyptians is really misplaced, and this book straightens a lot of things out. It properly orientates the conversation, and is really to the point where anybody who is still trying to have that discussion improperly orientated is a waste of time. It really is a waste of time. Okay. People got to get with the program. And me personally, I'm not entertaining those conversations and going backwards. It's all about progress for me, and all about, making advances and actually solving these problems and these research questions, coming up with solutions, coming up with the answers to these questions and things like that. Anybody's not interested in doing that, they could do that elsewhere. All right. So, that's the thing. So in terms of people trying to make the ancient Egyptians black to feel comfortable, and then try to what do you call it? Steal people's culture, which is what people are accusing people of doing. All of that can come to an end if people were to slow down and gain a better understanding of identity and how people identify and what that all entails. And this book does a very good job of properly orientating us to do that. So again, my suggestion is to read it if you haven't. And if you have, hopefully you did it through the book club and joined us, and we went through it. So we're going to be moving on to another book later on. All right. So if you have any suggestions on our next publication to go through, you can email support@sebauniversity.com for now. I will be creating a specific email for the book club, but for now, email support@sebauniversity.com. Any recommendation or suggestion you have for our next book. All right. So let me go to the chat for a bit. Take this off the screen. Go to the chat and let's pick up. So I see the sister's still here. All right, let me scroll back up. See, y'all are having a whole conversation in the chat. Let's see. I am definitely bypassing the extra conversation going on in the chat. I am going through the chat here and trying to find out if anybody has a question or comment relevant to what I'm saying. All right, But peace to everybody who joined in since I gave the last shout out. We got Meta Matrix Club. We got Ramza in the building. Let's see. Such languages where I'm just gonna highlight a couple of comments and see if I can catch up. Let's see. I of Ra equal is. Don't know what that is. Math. I of Ra. All right. So Cartoon Cat says you can't have progress with no beginning. Well, yeah, in that sense, you can't progress forward if you don't have a starting point, and that's what you mean by beginning. So yeah, we got all that covered. We got that covered. She says, "Let the white man teach you." No, we don't do that around here. We don't give that power away like that. We don't deal with the white man, black man, purple man, yellow man, and stuff like that. That is a very white thing to say, actually. Unbeknown to a lot of people. Let's see, keep going down the list, y'all. Let's see. See, everybody's talking to the sister Cartoon Cat. So I'll let you all have that. All right. So here we are.
Yeah. Roshan, did you get the chance to read the book on your own time? Or you're muted?
Ask again. What was that?
Did you get the chance to read the book? Ethnic Identities?
No. Not yet. Quite frankly, I've been a little busy on my own stuff, and I just haven't had time, to do much other than that. Have very long day. Very long
Okay.
day.
Yeah. Definitely. I'll recommend. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying.
I'll go ahead and I'll get the book soon.
Yeah. I get that, but definitely put that on your to read at some point. And I say that knowing that obviously it will just confirm some of the things, because it's not like you're on the other end of the discussion in that sense. I think you'll just find that it's probably like a summary of some of the things that you say, some of the things that we've said on this channel, but it's definitely one of those that at some point you might want to get to.
Okay, I'll get the book. Give me. Can you private me the link right quick again? I'm sorry.
Yes, I can do that.
All right, so that's good. But so earlier, for those who may be just joining the conversation, and we got 10 minutes left, but when I first came on, my whole point of going live was really to kind of catch up. Haven't been live in a while, and then 2 was to actually read the conclusion remarks of the author of the book, and I shared that. I read it. I read the whole conclusion remarks, and hopefully that will spark interest for people who didn't read the book, and then those of us who have read the book is kind of like a nice review of some highlighted points throughout the book. But if I had to even simplify it even more, what the book does, it brings to the awareness that the question of ethnicity, or the whole concept of ethnicity, is not what a lot of us think it is or assume it is in these different conversations. We tend to mix and blend race and ethnicity and culture and then biological relationships all together, because we invoke DNA in these conversations when we shouldn't. We invoke race in these conversations when we shouldn't. And it happens all the time. The moment you bring up ancient Egyptians and who they are, who they may have been and stuff like that, and where are they today, you'll hear people bring up race and they'll bring up genetics, and things like that. And those are not the tools that's going to answer those questions. And we really have to dig in and take things a lot slower than what people are used to doing. And anybody who attempts to do that without stepping it up is really setting us back. And all of those things that even the sister Cartoon Cat brought up. See, we have to realize that there is a sense of romanticizing Egypt and commercializing Egypt, and a sense of culture vulturing Egypt, because you do have people in America, African Americans, who feel that they are ancient Egyptians. I know some. I know some people who feel that they're ancient Egyptians, and even feel that they're Nubians. They will claim to be Nubians or ancient Egyptians when they're not. I know of people, and I personally know people who do that. And so, um, is that a reality? Is that truth to that? No. So we got a lot of cleaning up to do, you know, as far as that goes. And I think that books like this, or the information in this particular book, will set us straight to have a better conversation about all this good stuff. You know, we don't have to keep pushing back on racism in early Egyptology, or the white man's scholarship about Egypt. We don't have to counter that by doing the same thing, but putting black on it. We're gonna do everything that white scholars did, but we're gonna switch the white part of it to black. That's not right either. You know, but that a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. You know, people trying to tell me or tell us that the name Egypt, the name Kemet itself, is because of the people's skin color. And you know, so I definitely stepped out there and definitely straightened that one out. It has nothing to do with people's skin color whatsoever. But you've let other people tell it. Oh yeah, they call them Kemetu because they're the blacks. They're called the blacks. Kemetu. Ancient Egypt is called Kemet. You got Kemet and Kemetu because they're black. They were trying to tell us that they were black Africans, sub-Saharan Africans, and this, that, and the third. No, it wasn't that type of party at all. So anyway, yeah. So it'll be interesting to have a conversation about that with anybody, the sister included, about the Nubian thing. Because if anybody's familiar with me, that you all know that I have an issue with the term Nubian. So anybody coming claiming to be Nubian, they're gonna get a lot of questions from me about that very identity of Nubian, the very word itself, and how that all came about, and the whole nine. So Cartoon Cat, be prepared to share your thoughts on that. You know, if you're still there. Anyway, Rasan, you got anything? 'Cause we got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna let Cat Rasan, what you got for us?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with that. I am interested to know if she's, because she seems to have an anti, Egyptian studies agenda here. And I'm interested to know where, from what position it's coming. Is it an atheist thing? Is it some other political reason that she's doing it? I'm just interested to know. I mean, I hear her saying, it's her culture and all that, but it's some things she said suggest something else is bubbling up under here. I'm just not sure yet that I accept what she said. Her intent is here. But anyway, I'll just keep looking. We'll see.
All right.
I'm
So
done.
yeah. So I'm gonna get Cartoon Cat. I'm gonna get in touch with you. I sent you an email. So you gave me your email. I sent you an email just to touch bases so that you could have email. So in the future, when I bring up this topic, I'll include you in the conversation if you have the time and the availability. All right, you and your was it one Kemet? I think you said your significant other, but both you all can definitely join the panel. All right, so hopefully that's cool. MK, you got anything?
Yes, just a few things. Take about 20 minutes, okay? No, just wait. No, definitely get the book. and read, and also join the Seba University book club. And if you have any suggestions for the next book club, because this book reading thing with with a group of people is definitely something that we want to keep going. I'm really excited about it. It's really nice. So give us suggestions of any other book that you want us to study. Next, obviously it has to be, we're doing books related to ancient Egyptian culture. And also, just other than the book, I would like to say that there's nothing wrong with learning cultures and languages. This is something that we do. That's people study history, people study Greek culture, people study the Vikings. I like to study about the Viking cultures. Not study seriously, but that's something that interests me. Maybe at some point I'll take it more seriously. Cultures are very nice, and you definitely should not be stopped or hindered by anyone in the pursuit of studying cultures just because you're not part of that culture. There's a lot that you can actually learn and utilize from what you've learned about those different cultures. So I definitely encourage people to study other cultures. It doesn't have to be your own culture. You already know your culture, so and that would be very limited in that particular aspect. So study cultures. Feel free to study my culture, the Luo culture. I don't mind other people also discussing it. I love listening to new things that other people find about my culture that I might not know, because let's be honest, you just because you are actually born into a culture doesn't mean you know everything. There are some things that you know intrinsically, but there are other things that you do not know that you might actually discover from other people. I know I've learned a lot about my own culture just from listening to other people and reading other books on other people who particularly focused on different aspects of it that I might not be aware of. So I definitely encourage other people to also study my own culture. I will not come here and tell you that that you can't tell me about my own culture, or you should not study about my culture like it's something that is exclusively for me. That is not. Definitely, I know I'm a person who actually loves to study languages. I speak different kinds of languages. I travel around the world. Learning cultures, being part of learning the bigger parts of the globe and how other people interact with each other, their customs, is something very interesting, and I definitely encourage y'all to do that. That's it.
Okay. So, that pretty much wraps up the time. So yeah, today was basically a kind of a chill day. I just wanted to share the conclusion of the book and give people an update on where we were in the book. And I'm not sure if you all can hear that thunder outside, but it's definitely about to go down. It's definitely about to go throw down. Thunderstorm is coming through with the vengeance. Feeling the vibration. But anyway, so yeah, I wanted to share the conclusion remarks from the author and encourage people to get the book if you haven't already read the book. And for those of us who did, then we kind of just get some highlighted points, and we could continue the conversation. But we're going to move on to a different publication, and I'm still open for suggestions. Everyone who was in the book club gave their suggestions, and now I'm opening up for more, and we're going to make a decision because I want to start on a new book as soon as possible, ASAP. Now, what we do, for those who are not familiar with the book club, we meet every Sunday for 2 hours at 12 p.m. Online, and we read parts of whatever book we're dealing with ahead of time, and then we come together to have a discussion. All right, and we max out at 2 hours. It don't have to be 2 hours, but we max it out at 2 hours of having a discussion. So our next book is to be announced, and I'll definitely be announcing what book that is. But I am still looking for suggestions. All right, and it has to be a book. Well, here's what not to suggest. We're not going to walk through any textbook genre of books, because that textbooks go with courses. So I don't want to do the teaching thing. I have courses that I'm dealing with already. So if you're interested in a course with the language and stuff, that's a separate issue, but I'd be happy to deal with that too. But no textbooks. And then it has to be something that we all can get. I don't want to, a book that's out of print and almost impossible to find and things like that. So, unfortunately, we can't do those either. So something that we can all get and something that's relevant to these topics. All right. So we're not going to do, book club. We're not going to read Peter Pan and all those kind of things. So something that's relevant to the topic of ancient Egyptian culture, history, language, and so on and so forth. All right. So hopefully you all will deal with that. And I guess that's it. I was trying to get Cartoon Cat. I was asking about, you mentioned Clubhouse, and I was asking, is there a regular Clubhouse channel or group that you all have these discussions in? Because that's the impression I'm getting is that these conversations may come up on Clubhouse. Now I've been a member of Clubhouse since its beginning, like when you had to be invited in order to join. You couldn't just join just to join. But I never use it because Clubhouse is not a very good platform to have like a scholarly type of conversation, because man, people be cutting each other off, everybody grabbing the mic and this and that. It gets really, really wild really quickly there, so I'm not a fan of Clubhouse too much. Well, I put it this way, I don't use Clubhouse, but I was wondering if there was a regular channel on Clubhouse that had these types of conversations. And if that's the case, let me know. All right, but I appreciate everybody coming through the channel, and like I said, we'll keep this up. Keep this up, Kemet and Chill, and everything. And I apologize, it's been a minute since we have gone live for a while, and we don't have to go live every day. I'm not one of those type of people that have to go live and just fire up a live and just talk about stuff and everything. Nah. But you will hear more of us think of a topic. If you have topic suggestions, shoot it to me. All right. But it's been another Kemet and Chill book club review, and I'll see you all next time. We are gonna do this again. We're gonna keep on doing this. All right. But Shema Hotel, peace to y'all.
You said that when you go to Kemet school, you became more alert. You more wake up. Your spirit wake up, and you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. Classical studies, we must know Medew Netcher. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some Meroitic too. We need to know Medew Netcher. Achievement in Kemet for me is education. The way they think, they build, and they practice their education is very unique in history. Without education, I believe there will be no Kemet.